All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here on this fine Thursday evening for another night of the Oceanic Esports Dota 2 League. This is Season 2, of course, and it's MLP Dota and John X5. John, welcome back, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's been a while. It's been a while since the first season closed. Of course, we had a bit of the off-season. Redrafts were in place, but we're finally here. It's day number 2. We did have the first series yesterday, but we've got fresh teams today. Really excited to see what they bring out today, Mike.
It should be interesting. We've got Sincerely Fury up against, I guess, a new name team, John, the Power of Friendship. Obviously, similar names being involved here, but the teams are completely different. Of course, they're all drafted, and well, even Sincerely Fury is looking fairly different right now, John. Multiple different players here, apart from maybe Zelly. Even a caster, King of the Gorgonites, is here to play with the team, which should be fairly interesting. I'm pretty sure there are people that are pretty interested in seeing how he does perform in this game number 1 and 2 of up against Power of Friendship. And if the odds are anything to go by, they're looking pretty darn good. Currently, their odds sitting at $1.60 in comparison to the $5.80 of Power of Friendship, which, to be quite frank with you, John, I found kind of unfair. That's a bit high, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely high. I don't really blame the betting scene to favor Fury. We've seen this stack, or at least the core of it, Zelly and Fury in Season 1, of course. There has been a bit of a shuffle, but Jandals was playing in Season 1. We've seen Brawny as well, and even Nova. Power of Friendship, I believe their stack is the core of it. Came from Poyo Host Shuffle. So there was that bit of shuffle with Team Poyo, and I believe that's where the core of Power of Friendship is coming from. They didn't have the most spectacular run. There's potential there, but when it comes down to it, when you go with what you know, then you obviously do have to favor Fury in that sense.
All right. Move into the draft has begun, so we'll switch over to that for a second. And of course, John, I did end up forgetting something while we were setting up. Apparently, I forgot the team names that are meant to be on top of the draft, so it could be somewhat complicated for people to know who's who, but Power of Friendship is on the Radiant and Sincerely Fury on the Dire side. I'll try to fix that as we go along. So hopefully it won't be too long before I have that sorted out, though still. So Sincerely Fury looking to be the clear favorites here up against Power of Friendship. We'll see what kind of bans they do favor here on both team sides. Power of Friendship actually opting to get rid of the Earth Spirit first, which is surprising enough for me, because this seems to happen more often than not these days. The ES ban coming out, and there's the Void Spirit also being removed.
Yeah, I mean, that Void Spirit's a lot more straightforward. Of course, it's that high mobility core. We've seen it in the Pause 4 role a couple of times. We've seen it also on the off lane and the off chance. The Earth Spirit, I do agree with you. It's been hit or miss, and a lot more of the times, a lot more of a miss. Those changes in the patch, just not enough. I mean, we've seen the Ags upgrade once, but that was in a different tournament. It's hilarious. I don't know if that's really going to put the hero back, but still, it's still a safe bet, right? You take out this long-range initiation, you do set yourself up down mid for perhaps something that doesn't favor that. Like, I do believe OD doesn't fare too well up against something like the Earth Spirit, so if you wanted to go for that down the line, with that hero out, I guess you've got the leeway for those kinds of heroes now down mid.
That is true. Of course, I'm just going to leave the team names till later on, I think, so we don't spend the next hour trying to figure out how to fix it on the fly. Still, Power of Friendship with their first pick up now. We saw the Phoenix and Terrorblade also being removed. So they've got the first pick here, Power of Friendship. I do wonder what they prioritize, and it will be the Enchantress. So it's a bit of an off kind of first pick to make, I'd say, the Enchantress in the current meta, but it still does really allow you to just dominate one of the lanes fairly easily. So there's nothing really wrong with going for that as first pick, and Sincerely Fury, they'll return the favor. They go for the Tusk. So their POS 4 already coming out, potentially their POS 5, or potentially a position 3, but it is here for Fury.
10 seconds remaining.
And, well, we're going to have to wait these other picks out before we can say much, as both these heroes are quite self-explanatory. John, I should have mentioned, however, that I'm yet to get a haircut, as the viewers may have noticed, so unfortunately I don't look quite as much like Baller now, but maybe in a couple of days' time, maybe I'll come back with a proper haircut, and We'll go back to that. But still, Power of Friendship. Their second pickup, they're thinking about it quite heavily. You've already got that safe lane support there. It's more than likely just going to be run as the position 5 here. What do you want to pair it with, though? Like, do you want to go for your support opening immediately? Would you rather just wait? They will. They'll go for the Jakiro pickup.
Yeah, that's it's a potent support duo. It has a lot of presence early on, but there's a lot of weaknesses there. There's not a lot of control, or at least very reliable control with the Enchantress, Jack, and Fury. They pick up a really good way to counteract that. The Doom comes into play, so if you are running the Doom up against the Ench, you've got an easy way to delete her creep. You can just devour the creep away, which means the Enchantress is going to have to play around Impetus, which is great, but it's a lot of the kit of Enchantress has been centered around the creep play now. It's been back to enchant, and with the Doom around, it's going to be harder to pull that off.
Right. It is definitely going to be tough. And, I mean, that Doom has been looking really strong in this current meta. A lot of Dooms coming out. We've seen a lot of mid Doom, especially.
Oh yeah.
You do still see it in the off lane, or even sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes it pops up in the safe lane. And it can be effective in that position as well. But you've got your mid or off here already for Sincerely Fury now with that Doom pickup, and we've seen it over and over again, John. It's very hard to deal with. Throughout all phases of the game, especially once you have a couple levels up, it is really hard to kind of force the Doom out of that laning phase.
Yeah, and even if he does have a rough time, we've seen the resurgence of Midas, and even a couple of Dooms going Midas as well. So you've got that steady farm to come in, even if you have a very lane-dominant combination from Power of Friendship. They're going to have to watch out for that. Really keep a track of that jungle, because that's something the Doom can just feed off of. So there's a lot there to worry about. And, I mean, on top of that, in terms of draft, with the Tusk Doom, you've still got leeway for a harder controlled support to keep these slippery kind of mids in place. You know, if ever the Quap slides through, you can still pick something up to give you that instantaneous or reliable stun and hold. And that's just not something Power Friendship has with the Enchantress Jack. It just locks them in to this stable support duo with not too much control. So that's something Power Friendship has to be really careful about, as you tend to see those big picks in this upcoming pick phase.
But does this mean Jakiro's POS 4? Like, it's pretty weak, right, in that sense. Like, I understand as a laning support, it's very strong, both these picks. But once you get past the laning phase, although Jakiro is pretty darn strong with, you know, just Ice Path spam altogether, as a position 4, I don't know how I feel about it. Usually the Jakiro does pop up in the position 5 slot. Unless you are throwing the Enchantress as a 4, but even then I'd make the same argument. That after the laning phase, they're just not quite as effective as you'd hope. Ooh. And I can't say I'm too surprised by this, John. A position 5 silencer for Gorg, who does love this hero. I have watched some of his streams, and you do see the silencer popping up enough to know that he probably will be playing this. And I will assume it's going to be a position 5 silencer, unless Fury's taking the POS 5 slot, in which case maybe a core silencer.
Either way, I think it's going to be really valuable. You've got this classic combo, the Tusk silencer. So with the aggression Tusk brings out, if you do get a rotation off, you're going to be building up those instacks really early on. So you've got this way to escalate that silencer to a really good spot. As a support, you've got a solid way of keeping those high mobility heroes locked in with the global silence, as long as you have that available. So it makes it a bit trickier to find your timings if you do go for something like the Quap, if you go for something like the Puck or the Storm Spirit that we tend to see. Even the Ember can kind of get shafted by that silence. So Fury's tying up their draft really nicely with these first 3 picks. And Power of Friendship, they go with a Clockwork. So you've got some combination with the Jack, you've got some combination with the Ench. There's some potency with the Power Cogs play. It's still not the best lockdown, but you can at least punish some of these melee cores. You can punish the Doom a bit if you wanted. You can punish the Tusk if it comes too close. Silencer's probably going to have a decent time orb walking you, though. Right. It's a interesting pick. It doesn't quite line up completely, but there is some synergy there, at least with the Jakiro.
Right. And this should be a position 3 clock, I'm assuming now, because unless you're running like an offlane Enchantress, which again is just kind of weird with the current meta, I imagine that should just be a position 3 clock coming out here for Power of Friendship, which... Yeah, those kind of position 3 clocks can be a little risky in my opinion, especially because if they fall off after the laning stage, it just... If you don't get a good start, you don't get a couple kills under your belt, and you die a couple times as the clock, it can be pretty rough to try and come back from that, because you don't really have many farming kind of tactics with the clockwork. You don't have any skills that just easily push out creep waves. Can be a bit rough, but I guess only time's going to tell what position this clock's in. Still Sincerely Fury with their 4th pickup now. I wonder what they do opt for here. They do seemingly need 2 more cores. So we're still looking for that safe lane and potentially an off lane or mid pick. So that Doom is still very flexible. They are going to think quite heavily with their reserve time now.
And they've got a lot of options if they're looking at, say, pause 1 here. To close out their pick phase. Something with natural spell immunity would be really strong. They go with a Quap first, so you're going to see that lack of solid lockdown in play here for Power of Friendship. Jack has Ice Pack, which has a delay. Enchantress has her Creeps, which has the gap close. Clockwork, I guess, is your most reliable with Hookshot and Battery Assault. It's not quite enough to really lock the Quap down. But Power of Friendship, they pick up the AM, so they've got that mobility up for themselves as well. Into Doom. Man, I have to feel that's pretty ballsy into the Doom, though.
It is a bit ballsy, to say the least. Of course, you have Counterspell, which is kind of an easy way to counter the Doom. But apart from that, maybe you get a Lincoln's later on if you really feel like you need it as this AM, but it's generally not something you want to go down for that anti-mage. And well, they must know what they're doing, John. They chose it into the Doom. They're not too afraid of it. Obviously, the AM works quite well into the Silencer Quap. You can kind of just blow them up if they're out of mana. Apart from that, I think you're looking at that AM pick and you're a bit concerned now for Power of Friendship, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's I mean, there are ways to make it work, as you mentioned. It's tricky. Like, even if you had Lincolns, you're definitely going to want a BKB because Silencer's in the pool, or at the least, faster timing in the Manta. And you're going to have to play pretty quick. The 3 heroes they have on hand right now for Power of Friendship can play fast. Don't get me wrong, these heroes can buy that space. It's just there's a lot the AM has to get done here, and there's not much room. Like, Fury has a pretty fast pace themselves with a Quap Doom. They still have to show their last pick. With a Quap and with this kind of lineup, I think this is actually a fairly decent game for something like a Life Stealer. It's not the best against AM, but you can take care of everyone else. You've got the natural bomb with Quap if you want to play fast, and you just mess up those supports. Any hero with natural spell immunity in this case for Fury, if they say go for a last pick Jug as well, it can really just mess up the pace that the Clock, Jack, and Enchanters want to bring.
Okay. Well, final pickups now. 10 seconds left for Power of Friendship. Gonna have to make this pick quick. They are still looking for that mid laner, and they do go for the puck. So there's a bit more lockdown now. In fact, I'd argue quite a lot of lockdown with the Dream Core Silence. It's going to be pretty darn nice here for Power of Friendship. It is also into a Doom Silencer, mind you, so it's not that simple. And Sincerely Fury, they go for what appears to be a Templar Assassin. And how are they laning all this? Is that a safe lane TA that we're seeing?
I guess perhaps Zelly tends to play the pause 1, but I could see him flexing Quap. No, I'd say it should be a safe lane Quap, a mid TA still, off lane Doom in play. There is that flexibility here for Fury. I think, despite the weirdness of this draft, despite the it's not a very natural lineup to see the Quap and TA, but there's potency for it. The issue is you've got to be smart with how you distribute that mid-game farm. You're gonna have to ensure that Zelly and Brawny can find the pacing they need, the item progression they need, because once you taper off, these are 2 heroes that need farm, and then you've got the Doom playing in the jungle as well, whereas Power of Friendship, they've only got the AM they have to buy space out for. Like, 9 can get online with a Blinker Yules fast, or perhaps a Veil of Discord as well. They can just play fast.
Right.
Whereas Fury, you need items on the Quap, you need items in TA. And that is a lot of mid-game space they need to secure to ensure these heroes do work.
It's going to be an interesting game 1. Of course, this is a best-of-2 series for the group stages. I guess you'd call them the group stages. There's a lot of weeks involved, but game 1, Sincerely Fury, the heavy favorites in this series, and Power of Friendship, of course, have something to prove here, especially up against the Picklebet guys who have put the odds so highly against them.
Oh, yeah.
Sincerely Fury, though, they were looking fantastic last season. Of course, again, the teams are different, but I don't doubt they'll look fantastic this season to boot, and we'll get into it, John. Game number 1. And more importantly, where are these heroes going on Sincerely Fury? Like, you kind of guessed a little bit during the draft stage, but now we'll get to see exactly how they plan to lane these heroes out.
Yeah, it's still rather strange because I believe Bronny's listed as her pause 4, but he is on TA. Yeah, that's going to be the mid TA. It's going to be the safe lane proper, right? So that call out was at least on point, and it's going to be interesting. Again, they're going to have to hit that farming point for both Zelly and for Bronny. Going to be important for the Quap and TA to hit a good stride here. Once they do hit that stride, there's a massive moment where Power of Friendship, I mean, they don't really have much in that mid game. I mean, they can play around with their skills, they can play around with team fights, but the AM, Short Potato, just has to farm up. And we've seen the AM a lot. It's in other regions, but we've seen the AM, and that 4 Protect 1, there's so many ways to exploit it, and Fury has set themselves up with this kind of core lineup to really punish that playstyle Power Friendship wants to bring out here.
Right. By the way, it is a position 4 Enchantress we're seeing. I was asking the question before where this Enchantress is going to be played. They are running it as the POS 4, and it's actually going to be Shifsa and Shifsa Jr. together. Which is quite cute, quite nice to see. They're sticking together, see if they can make this laning stage work. Of course, it's going to be a bit of a difficult laning stage, John. Tusk Quap is what they're up against, and well, Shifts is going to run straight into them, but this could be pretty dangerous for him. He'll make a run for it. The bounty, Shifts Jr. will be able to take it, but now he's going to take a lot of harassment out with this tag team from Fury. He'll survive, but it's just a lot of regen he's going to have to burn through, and Shifsa, he tried to help the best he could. Fury will be just fine to walk out of there on the Tusk. And, well, bot lane. Gorgonite and Nova just going at it with Short Potato and Spider Boy. Short Potato going to turn around now on or rather just Nova. King of the Gorgonites really just giving it to him, and that's another thing I just learnt from Gorgonites in his streams, John. He tends to like to fight a lot.
Yeah, I think when you go for this kind of silencer support, you do want to apply that early pressure. It's just the orb walking damage you pump out with Glaives of Wisdom, which is so potent. And again, you're hunting for those early kills if possible. At some point, if Fury does get a rotation out with Gorg, then there is a lot of potency for scaling. And this is not going to be a very fun lane bot. Of course, you've got Short Potato there in the AM. He's still finding decent farm so far. You saw him apply that harassment onto Nova. Once Nova hits the level 3, level 4 mark, that's when the Doom really starts to stabilize. He starts to find some steady farm. It's really going to be down to Gorg to try to contain that spacing. Of course, that's going to tie them down here. You're not going to expect Gorg to make that rotation down mid, where you do see Bronny and Nine laning up against each other. Puck against the TA. This is not a matchup we see too often nowadays, but it's not like these two heroes have been out. So there's a lot of back and forth here. The TA is lagging behind just a bit, Bronny being punished by Nine, but that's to be expected. First few levels of the TA are harsher. I mean, Nine has better wave clear, better range. It's going to take a little bit more for Bronny to start to pump out. I'd say level 3 again is the spike, and it's going to be balanced unless you do see Nine perhaps pick up a nice rune for himself. The puck does have a bit more room for aggression with the kit he has and positioning spells you do have. That's something Bronny has to be slightly conscious about whenever he does pop that refraction and it goes down.
That is true. Gonna have to wait just a little bit as Zelly has disconnected on the Quap. So far, I mean, that mid lane you were just talking about, Nine is having a very nice time on that puck, and that's going to be quite important for him, as his team is going to be really relying on him to set a tempo here, just to ensure they get the momentum their way, trying to make the AM have enough space to just keep farming up. Just try and give Short Potato as free of a game as possible. Of course, Sincerely Fury not going to be willing to make it that easy. We'll see if Bronny can just catch up a little bit here on this TA. I'm sure as the levels do go up, it shouldn't be too much of a problem for him. But now, Nine will just continue to win out this lane the best he can on this puck. It's another one of those lanes as well, John, where it is going to be very important to secure those power runes for either side. So that first 4-minute power rune can be very, very influential in this kind of laning matchup. Either side is going to be racing for it, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, it's something they're going to have to watch out for. I do believe Fury does have better supports to secure that. The Silencer is pretty decent, and of course you've got Tusk, who can area deny. So Fury's going to have to watch those timers just to ensure it balances out. And that top lane for Fury, it's going pretty alright. You can see Shifta, he's got the leeway to go for that enchant on the Enchantress because you're not laning against the Doom. But that presence early on is kind of cancelled out. Even Shifta Jr. isn't really applying as much harassment onto Zelly, although Zelly's farm, it's actually pretty darn good. 10 to 5, good amount of denies, just slowing down that progression. Is forced to walk the long way back to the tower, though, but so far not as much pressure as you'd want on the safe lane Quap.
It's one of the things, though, like, Zelly's just gonna have a free game here. You've got the Clockwork and you've got an Enchantress, and while they can dominate a lane up against a hero like the Quap, it does get really difficult to be able to force Zelly out of here. Shifter might have to direct his attention to another lane, and he's kind of making the rotation towards that dire jungle, and perhaps he will rotate into mid. He's only got the Wild Wing Ripper, but perhaps he could just burn through the refraction charges of Bronny and make it just a little bit harder in this laning phase for him. So he has overtaken the puck now in terms of last hits. Nine just falling behind just a little bit, but as the levels are going to go up on this TA, those CS are just going to get higher and higher for Bronny. But Shifter will make his way back up towards the top lane. I guess the problem with this being, you can't really leave the Clockwork alone either.
No, it's just way too good of a time for Fury to go close that gap, threaten the tag team, and with Zelly around to pump out his own damage, that can escalate real quick. Of course, they've got some good wards here for Fury as well. They've got that nice Radiant ward watching those camps, so even if you did make a move, that would have been preemptively spotted out. And it's just tricky, as they even lose their Curry now to Fury, just chasing it down.
Yeah, Fury pop the tag team up against Shifter Jr., but it's like he will give him a hell of a lot of harass back with the battery assault. Back down to the bot lane, Nova, he's still having a great old time in that Doom, John. Just 23-4, no pressure whatsoever. And while they can't really pressure Short Potato either, well, for now this Doom is just getting everything he wants, and, well, Short Potato, he's going to make the jump onto Gorg. We'll just turn around now, get a bit of harass out onto Short Potato, but well, this off-lane for Sincerely Fury is really not having any problems and not really inflicting too many problems on the AM, but top lane is where the first blood happens. Shifter, he does go down on the Enchantress.
Yeah, it's a nice, easy pick-off here from Fury. It's just the damage output you get from a Tusk Quap. They just have so much to bring early on. And of course, when you expose Shifta Jr. like this, our little buddy is going to be under a lot of pressure. He doesn't have mana for the battery assault. He does have a pot still up and running, a salve ready to go. But this is the point where the Quap can just take control of this lane, and there's enough space for Fury to hunt down those bounties as well.
And he tries to, but Shifter will be able to just cut him off. Bot lane. Nova does kill off Spider Boy, who was fighting over the bounties there, but does not win out, and well, it wasn't like there was any Doom being committed here. They're both just still level 4 down at this bot lane. It's an easy kill to get, and he did have the Purge there. So, I guess it makes it a little bit easier. Looks like Gorg's actually planning to leave the lane on the Silencer now and just make his way back to the Fountain for a bit. Perhaps just a bit of reset for him. And while he's gone, they want to try and apply some pressure onto Nova, but looks like he's just going to be just fine. There's really no pressure to be applied here. They'll dual breath him. He'll just walk away.
It's stable time up top, though. You've got an early rotation from 9.
Well, they've got the Dream Call out. There should be a kill going out, and they do get it. The silence just lasting way too long, and there was no blink to be there from Zellyfish. And well, now the power of friendship. They could start making the push up towards that top lane. It's going to be a bit of a slow process, and looks like Shifts is going to be the only one trying to get some damage out there. Of course, 9, he's just going to go back to the lane and get some more farm up on that puck. Doesn't want to leave Bronny alone here on that TA, who is still top of the last hit board at the moment, 45 and 11.
Oh yeah, it's a snowballed start for Bronny, and we've seen TAs get this kind of clean start. They're going to have easy access to their jungle, they're going to be able to apply that pressure in the mid-tier 1. And once you do give that TA space, you start to worry. Fury, again, they've got a mid-game timer here. They have an easy ramp up to that point, and they're going to hit their spikes really quick.
Well, Shifts is in big trouble here. Great shards out with the tag team, and Zelly will pick up another kill on the Quap. They'll even just... they'll leave his enchanted creep to just run away. Nice setup there from Zelly and Fury, and now Fury is making a bit of a rotation down towards the mid lane. Like he's still just trying to deal with that enchanted centaur at the moment. And even if he wanted to try and go on 9, realizing that the rotation was happening, does make the rotation himself into the Radiant jungle, but Fury, looking to cut him off a little bit there, is going to start rotating down towards the bot lane now. Sincerely Fury, perhaps setting up for that 10-minute T1 tower push soon.
Yeah, I mean, they've got this early damage potential as well, and start stacking up on the board with some kills.
Ice Path not really going to do anything. They'll just chase down Spider Boy, and they do get a very easy kill. Short Potato, he's actually just been in the Radiant side jungle, unable to farm any further in this bot lane. And they don't even have to wait for the 10-minute mark. They could just go for the T1 right now if they so wish.
Yeah, then this objective is going to open up that bot jungle. Now, that can be risky for Power of Friendship, and they need to get that space up and running for Short Potato, but they're going to have to watch themselves. They are making rotations up top. They know that Zeldy's been exposed alone. It's just that he's playing safe and he's TPing out as well.
They'll go down to the bot lane. They're just going to go for that direct trade. I think, sincerely, Fury, they're probably just not too interested in taking a big team fight up against Power of Friendship right now, considering they have such early kind of snowbally heroes on their side of things. Sincerely, Fury can take a bit more time to just farm up and get more active towards that mid game. So both the bottom and top tier 1 towers are going to go down. Of course, either side will just take over each other's jungle now. Still very, very passive, though Bronny will now get spotted out by Spider Boy. It's not really going to lead to much, as Bronny does have many TA traps out, so he has plenty of vision. Just keep freely farming up this jungle. No pressure applied on this TA. The mid lane, however, a Dream Coil is out. Shifts up, gonna go for the hook shot. He'll go after Explosive Fury. Battery Assault pop, but there was no cogs out. Nova, he'll make a run for it, and now Bronny is gonna come in, trying to turn around up against Shifts at Junior, and they do get the kill. Now Spider Boy also gonna go down here. They do at least get Nova on the Doom, as Short Potato did rotate, but now he's been slowed up. He does not have Blink available, and this is not worth the death. It is not worth it for the Anti-Mage at all, and now Zelly going back in onto 9 on that puck. 9 about to fall, and does, and Shifsa, the only man left standing, is probably also gone, as Fury is there with the tag team, and that's going to be a full team wipe just prior to the 10-minute mark. And it looks like they're ready to set up for that mid-tier 1 tower.
And that's really where Fury's lineup shines. You know, they hit this point with a Queen of Pain, with a TA, they can start fighting early, even without the key initiation tools you tend to want on the TA. You're like, we're still waiting for the Desolator to be done, we're still waiting for the Blink to be done, but when you have a Tusk, when you got a Silencer to help minimize that spell spam, you've got all the tools in the world to really just take over, and it gets a bit tough for Power of Friendship. They're 4K behind at the 10.5 minute mark. That is not where you want to be when you are protecting an AM. And if they don't play their cards right here, and if Fury keeps playing this aggressive, then Power of Friendship are going to be punished, because it takes a while for this to cook up. It's just the AM game. You have to wait for this hero to be online.
It's not even like they've hit a spike yet. Bronny's not even got the Deso up. He's almost there. But you haven't really got the Deso blink up on the TA. I mean, you have the Doom, of course, on the Doom, but being played by Nova, but there's no big items out yet for Sincerely Fury. They are just looking so much stronger. With an AM on your team, it's going to be a long game. Short Potato, he'll be farming for a while. And Power of Friendship, they've just got to keep him safe and put all their faith into the Anti-Mage. The problem is when you're up against this kind of draft from Sincerely Fury, it's not like they're going to give you much time. Because again, once that mid-game hits, you're talking 5 to 10 minutes. In fact, Shifsa will go down up at the top lane to Zelly. But once you're 5-10 minutes further than from what we are now, it's going to be really hard for Power of Friendship to fight back.
Yeah, and you've got the Global Silence up and running on Gorg. You know, you've got all the spell control coming out from the side of Fury, and you just don't have anything to mitigate that. Like, Short Potato is a long way away from a Manta. Even the Yules on 9 is not quite there, and they're just forced to constantly try to keep their mid-tier 1 safe. You can see the massive commitment from Power of Friendship to keep it safe, but Fury doesn't really care. They're just clumping around. They're still gonna keep applying that pressure. They have all their spells up.
Nova, he got an invis rune. There's no sentries around. They don't know he's here. And he's just going to be able to walk in straight onto Spider Boy. He has Doom, but he's going to hold out for now. I believe he's waiting for a higher priority target. And Spider Boy, of course, is not going to survive this. So, they got the mid-tier 1 tower. They got a free Jakiro kill. And they are off to the races. In fact, are they making a beeline for the Roshan already? They've got the Desolator up on the TA, so they could actually do it, and they are. 12.5 minutes in, they are going to rush for a Roshan play. And quite frankly, John, I don't think Power of Friendship can fight back.
No, I mean, they've got the hook shot, they've got the puck Dream Coil as well if they wanted to, but I don't think they expect this. It's going way too fast here for Fury, and just a preemptive silence.
They know they caught the AM there. No Doom going to come out from Nova. He wasn't able to close the gap. They got plenty of damage out, and they secured the Roshan. On top of that, in fact, no, they do stun. They got the Doom and the puck, but there was a Dream Coil to hold them back. So I guess the best you could have asked for there for Power of Friendship is the Doom was used up. And it didn't mean a kill for the side of Sincerely Fury, but they got the Roshan, they got the Aegis. And I'm sure they're more than happy to just go back and keep farming up. There's no rush for them.
Oh, definitely not. Power of Friendship, they're kind of missing some beats here. The silver lining is that Short Potato is farming. He didn't die in that engagement, and of course you have these long cooldown spells that have to be waited out, so expect Fury to really maximize that Aegis maybe a minute, 40 seconds after this point, just when they have the Doom up and running. But even then, you know, at that same mark, you're going to have the Blink on Bronny with his Desolator. So you're going to have the gap closing potential on that TA. You've already got 14 stacks of Int on Gorg. A really good ramp up for our Silencer. And that's just down to the aggression that Fury can pump out. This Silencer can just scale up without any real item buildup. His right clicks will just keep hurting because of these early kills.
Never noticed either, but Gorg doesn't have the that new cache item. In fact, never mind that for a second. Zellyfish going to make the jump onto Shifsa Jr. and it's going to be another easy kill. In fact, Hookshot was attempted at the last second. It does not work out for him. So Zelly, just another easy pick off for the Quap. And now it's on to start harassing out that bottom tier 2 tower. I mean, we're only 15 minutes in, but they just feel like they can get some pressure out. And I believe they are correct in doing so.
Yeah, I mean, if there's no response from Power of Friendship, then this is just going to fall really quick, or at least chip away quite fast. You're almost at the point where Nova's going to have Doom back up and running, and even then, our Doom is actually rushing to BKB as well, just to ensure they have that presence, they have that opportunity to always find the big targets. So some major spikes coming out for Fury, and Power of Friendship still need building up. 9 is still saving up for his ults on the puck. After that, the Blink, and that's when the puck can really start to shine. But even then, the follow-up from the rest of this lineup just isn't quite there yet. They need this team fight to really line up perfectly, and Fury's just not giving them that opportunity.
That they are not. Bottom tier 2 tower push continues. How's our AM doing? A short potato. He's close to the Battle Fury now. It's not the greatest timing in the world, but it's getting there. And that'll enable him to just farm up a bit faster, but Sincerely Fury, they're just not letting go of this pressure. Not giving time for the AM to do what he needs to do. And well, while the Power of Friendship are protecting the AM, you can see them just grouped up around the AM, just making sure Short Potato stays fine and alive. It may not matter if you're losing towers like this. They could try to counter, like they could try to push in the top tier 2 tower. I just don't think they'll be able to push it nearly as fast. They can't. They've got to back off.
Yeah, they need to play it safe, and they've got some wards watching that jungle, so they can sort of see and intercept, but it's really not a good time to force anything out. There's a 10k lead now on the side of Fury. That BKB we mentioned on Nova, it's done. So our Doom has a steady way of maintaining his presence, of just running up, targeting any hero he wants. And with that, Fury just keeps applying pressure.
Why not? You've got the Deso up, it's just so easy. With that Aegis still intact for Bronny, there's no reason for them to back off yet. There's so many darn traps here in this mid lane. They're just set up to fight, ready to go. But it seems as though Power of Friendship are not going to oblige. They're just going to stay back and try to secure their own farm at the moment. They may have already accepted the fact that this tier 2 tower is going to go down, or perhaps no, they're going to jump in. It looks like Jellyfish and Bronny just blow up the Jakiro. That's one thing you can't do right now if you're Power of Friendship. You cannot show within vision of Sincerely Fury.
Oh no. And with that, you know, the tier 2 mid is gone. A major objective for the side of Fury. This really just opens up that entire bot jungle now. Not a very safe spot for Power of Friendship. Again, they've been playing that top tower jungle, but Fury, they still have the Aegis. They've got Global Silence, they've got Doom. They're going to try chipping away at that high ground.
Tier 3 tower going down very, very fast, considering it's only Bronny hitting it. Gonna jump in, Bronny, he'll get out of there. And that'll be it. Aegis expires, perfect timing out, and now Silence is going to be in the mid lane, and they just blow up this Enchantress Shifter. Oh, no. He's just gone, and now the AM, the Global Silence is out. Oh, Short Potato, he tried to fight him.
Oh, that's
you can't fight that. You've just got to get out.
No, and we talked about the timing of this AM to play around those silences. He needs at least the Manta style up and running. He's not even at that point. He just finished up that Battle Fury. There's a lot more cooking Short Potato needs to get done. And Sincerely Fury, they're just all over the map. They take an objective, they pull back. Perfect timing on that Aegis. They just continue to grow big, and Power of Friendship still need to wait out certain key things. 9 needs the Blink Dagger if they want to try to make plays. They're going to need more damage out. It's just, there is no damage from any of these heroes except the AM. Like, you've got the potency with the Macro Pyre Cogs, but you've already got the Doom on, you've already got a BKB on at least one of the heroes from Fury. And that just makes it trickier and trickier for them to find that opening. We haven't even seen an offensive hook coming out from Shifsa Jr.
He can't, though. That's the thing, right? Like, you'd love to see it. In fact, we might have just seen it now. Mid lane, Short Potato, he dies anyway. And, Shifsa Jr.'s gone, and not really sure what that fight was about. It may have just been the AM getting caught out there with Doom, and it looks like that was probably the case. And, well, the Radiant Jungle, it's not over. John Shifsa has also been caught. Clumsy Net is going to be there from Jellyfish. And Shifsa, he can't survive this.
Oh.
He cannot survive it. There's just no way.
Yeah, it's a rough one. You know, they're still getting space up top to get that push. Tier 2's gone. Lead widens to 16k, 2 to 18. You've got a blink up on Nova, and the one thing about that fight a while ago, you know what happened? Nova just walked up. Nova just walked up, and they tried to hookshot him melee range just to stun him up. It doesn't work out. They just can't stand up even just to the Doom, and Zelly is just all over the map to follow up. They have to be really, really cautious about that. I mean, Power of Friendship's been buying this space, but Short Potato's been getting caught out anyway, and that's not what you want when you run this AM strat.
Oh, they got the silence off from the Quap at least with the counter spell. And Nova gonna go in. They got the global silence off, but that's gonna be used off by 9. He'll make a run for it. Orbs away and Nova unable to catch him, but Zelly, he's still going. Bronny, meanwhile, kills off the AM by himself, and now Zelly, he'll pop the BKB after Spider-Boy. Spider-Boy is gone, but now shifts to Junior. Does hook shot in. Zelly still has the BKB up, looking to be fine. He'll just blink away. And they just can't kill him. I mean, that TA shot, Bronny, he just solo killed off that AM by himself. It's...
And he's got the Daedalus, so just a couple of lucky crits, and AM's not particularly tanky in terms of HP, especially when you are just stuck at that point with a Battle Fury. So there's still more time. Power of Friendship needs to buy out, and with all the towers gone, there's not a lot of safe space to farm up, as Fury just have taken complete control on the map. There's some decent wards here from Power of Friendship to watch their movement. They at least still maintain some vision on that bot jungle, but there's not much they can really get done with that. Like, they could try to play solo pickoff, which shifts a Junior. It's just, they haven't been able to find that opening. Fury has just been clumped up every single time.
That he has. 2 to 20. 22 minutes in. They spot out Short Potato once again. And it's just off the TA traps. They keep spotting out where this AM is, and they're going to make the dive in for it. Jellyfish, can he get the silence off in time? No, Snowball going to be out. He'll blink away into the tree line. They know roughly where he is, and the shards is going to be perfect from Fury with the silence out from Jellyfish. And oh, that's so demoralizing. You blink into the tree line, and Fury just gets a blind shards off. Just,
oh yeah.
He doesn't even bother counterspelling. He just leaves it at that. He knows he's dead.
Yeah, it's tricky now. You know, 2 to 21, 20k lead for Fury. I mean, this is pretty much a straight up stomp. You know, there's no two ways about it. They are losing way too much control on the map. This is the second Roche to go to. It just melts. Just look at that damage they pump out. That was what, 10 seconds on a Roche, and it's just done.
It was quick. That's for sure. Now up towards that top lane. I mean, if they want to take a Rax, it's open to them. I think they're very, very well aware of how far ahead they are. With that Aegis up on Bronny, you could wait out his BKB timer, but there's no need for that, it seems. They're just going to make the high ground play right now. With all their ultimates up, Sincerely Fury. And for that top tier 3 tower, see Shifts are just trying to creep skip Spider-Boy. Got blown up, but he'll buy back. They need to defend this. They're going to try. The question is, how do you get in there? They go in with the Dream Call on 3, but now the Global Silence is out. He'll purge that off with the Yules, but he can't get out of there. They got the stun off. 9's gone, and now the chase is on. Hook shot in from Shifts to Junior, but he's been doomed up. Maybe they kill Zelly, but no, he eats the cheese in time. Shifts is going to die, and now Shifts to Junior goes along with him. And they even got 9 on the puck once again, and he's just dead. It's an ultra kill out for Bronny. You may as well just dive for the rampage, and he's trying, Bronny. No, he won't. He gets a BKB up. The GG has been called. Sincerely Fury taking a very, very quick Game 1 victory.
Yeah, that was really dominant from Fury, and I think a lot of factors came down to draft. I mean, Fury played really well. Let's not take that away from them. They played aggressive from the get-go. Gorg on the silencer just got a lot of pressure done on the bot lane, and Power of Friendship just didn't find an opening to punish. But I think a lot of it came down to the draft. That opening of Jack Enchantress just did not do much, and that is what happens when you lock yourself into these kinds of supports really early on in the first phase. It leaves very little room to work with the rest of the draft, and Power of Friendship just didn't play fast enough with their lineup to maximize that sort of opening with their draft.
Right. Well, with that, of course, we are going to go on to Game 2. Should be about 5 to 10 minutes from now. Probably even sooner than that. It is MLP Dota and John X Fire, and we'll see you again very, very soon for our second game of this best of 2.
we miss you.
I love relationships. I think they're fantastic. They're wonderful. I think they're great. I think there's nothing in the world more beautiful than falling in love. But falling in love for the right reasons. Falling in love for the right purpose. Falling in love. Falling in love. When you fall in love. I think they're fantastic. They're wonderful. I think they're great. I think there's nothing in the world more beautiful than falling in love.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here for game number 2 between Power of Friendship and Sincerely Fury. It is MLP Dota and John X Fire here once again. John, we're back for the second game between these two. Of course, first game, Sincerely Fury. Very, very dominant victory, to say the least. You mentioned there needed to be some switch-ups there with Power of Friendship's draft. What are you thinking here? What do you think they need to switch up in particular?
I think the support duo has to be reworked a bit. Perhaps their offlane choice as well. Like there was synergy. It was just really hard to land, and I like the shakeup already. They start with a Tiny instead, and that's a much more active support or core that comes in line really fast. It's a steady source of damage. It's a steady source of control as well. So you do have yourself lined up nicely. Fury, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't change it. They are back on the Doom and the Tusk. And they had a fantastic time with it last time. They're not going to have the QoP or TA to play around with this, but there's still a lot of cores that work really well with this kind of duo.
Ooh, they bring up the Night Stalker here, Power of Friendship, and I do love this hero, John. It's been popping up a lot in the pub scene, for sure, and it's been very, very popular, and it has a very high win rate. Not so much the pro scene, I don't believe we've seen much of this hero in, but it can be very effective, right? It sets a very fast pace, quite dominant in the laning phase, even before that first knight comes along. It can be quite hard to kind of pressure out of the lane. And, with the Tiny there, there's a lot of fight potential already from Power of Friendship. I think they were kind of lacking a hero like this. Like, I thought the Puck might have been the hero they needed in that mid lane to set the tempo for Power of Friendship. But it didn't really work out that way, so throwing the Night Stalker in their mix could be what they needed.
Yeah, it's giving them that pace, as you mentioned. I think there's a lot more they can do on the map with EXP alone, just with a Tiny Night Stalker duo. There's a lot of potential there. Fury's got to watch out for that aggression that might come out here from Power of Friendship. They're not going to be playing as passive with a Tiny Night Stalker, and there are some key timings there they have to respect. Fury's also got to find some active cores to line up with the Doom Tusk. I mean, Zelly on the pause 1 Quap, he wasn't farming around. He was running around the map farming heroes, and that is what gave them the pressure. That is what gave them that momentum in first place. It would be nice if they could kind of realign their sights and still go for a hero that does allow that kind of pacing to match what Power of Friendship wants to do here.
Right. We'll have to wait out these final bans before we get to see more coming out. Of course, Sincerely Fury, they really haven't revealed anything. It's just the same thing again. They won't have the option to go back for that mid TA, nor will they have the option for the safe lane Quap. So they are going to have to change some things up. But I doubt it'll be too hard for Sincerely Fury. Like, that first draft that we saw was already kind of a bit unorthodox, having that safe lane Quap. You know, the mid TA is a bit more normal, but it worked out very effectively. I imagine this third pick will probably be the position 5 again for Gorg. It's a matter of what they're going to pick up. And if they really wanted to, they could go back for the Silencer. He was making it look actually quite effective. So it's hard to say no to going back to that Silencer after that performance from Gorg. I imagine they could just do the same thing, but no, it's banned out.
Yeah, it's would have been too good. I mean, with a Tusk, the Silencer just gets enabled to play aggressive. With that Doom as well, there's just so much potency. So I do appreciate that Power of Friendship is paying a lot of respect to what Fury brought out in Game 1. I mean, they banned 3 of the 5 heroes from Game 1. They're trying not to deal with it again. You know, it's fair enough because Game 1 was really, really tough for Power.
Yeah.
It's not something you'd want to experience.
Do you miss casting Australian Dota, John?
Oh, yeah.
We were casting a lot of Chinese Dota. That was the last thing I think we did. But did you sit there and think, man, I just want to cast some Aussie Dota?
Yeah, no, it's refreshing because it's very different. You know, in China, I think in most of the pro scenes, there's a very stable set of heroes you can expect. In China, it's very pronounced. In a league like this in Australia, I mean, there's always surprises, and even this kind of opening from Power of Friendship, right? Tiny's not so strange. Night Stalker is a bit on the strange side. Then you have the Disruptor coming out, which it kind of ties into this draft with the Tiny nicely. Like, they have some great AoE. They've got some great timings coming out, some really good control. It's just not very typical you see a Disruptor Night Stalker Tiny. You know, usually you see a Disruptor with a Naga or with a Centaur to set yourself up, or with a Faceless Void, but you don't have that combinations here. It's still really potent. I think Fury's on the right track with what they're picking up, though. They've got the Dazzle here, which is interesting because you've got the Doom already as a core, but you could swap it out. Run the Pause 4 Doom, the Pause 5 Tusk, the Pause 3 Dazzle if you wanted to. So there's some strong flexibility from Fury if they wanted to run the core Dazzle. They could still run it as the support with the Tusk, of course. But they're keeping their options open, and this is one way to mitigate that burst from the Tiny. You just have Shallow Grave up. At some point, it's going to be high enough that you can cast it fairly consistently. And if you let the game drag on to hit that level 18 mark, the sustain is ridiculous.
Right. I'm pretty sure that is going to be a support Dazzle, though. I'm fairly sure that's going to be the Pos 5 Dazzle this game. Not 100% sure on that yet, but considering the Silencer was banned, I think that's kind of what they're going back to now, is just running a Pos 5 Dazzle. Again, I'm not 100% on that, so we'll wait and just wait and suss it out. Sincerely Fury, their 4th pickup now, will reveal a lot more for us. They've got plenty of reserve time to make this pick happen. Of course, Power of Friendship, they went down the Phantom Lancer route, which is one of those Pos ones, never really seems to get, you know, unpopular. It's always just kind of there in the background if you have no other better options. There's kind of plenty of ways to deal with it, though, which can be somewhat problematic.
I think the best way, the most consistent way with the Ember Spirit, was banned out by Fury themselves. So they're going to have to kind of think twice about how they go into the PL in this case. They do go with the Puck. That is one more way. I guess it's got decent AoE wave clear. It still gives you that great team fight on top of that Tusk, Dazzle, and Doom. There's still a lot of potency here from Fury, but I think Power of Friendship, their draft is looking a lot stronger. This is something you can play around. The PL can play faster if you wanted to farm that way, wanted to itemize that way and join these fights earlier. Fury's got to be a little bit more disciplined. Again, we mentioned it, but they don't quite have the heroes to completely deal with the Phantom Lancers. The game scales on, so they're still going to need to tie up their draft with something in their last pick to really take care of that illusion spam.
Right. I mean, you've kind of got the Doom there, though, right? Like, if you could catch out the right PL, you just commit Doom and the PL's kind of screwed over. Like, you've got somewhat of a counter there in that Doom pickup from Sincerely Fury for the PL. I'm sure they're going to go for something else on top. Like, what other position one is there that, you know, clears waves easily and just gets rid of the illusions fast? I guess there's plenty of options here, but we're going to have to wait out these final bans. They do get rid of the DP and the Necrophos now. Sincerely Fury, final ban out for them. I was kind of wondering what the Necrophos ban was for, actually, but I mean, maybe you just don't want to play against it. Like, it can be pretty rough to play against if you are in the safe lane as a PL up against that Necrophos. Be a little bit challenging.
Yeah, I think the sustain you get from Dazzle Necrophos is pretty ridiculous as well.
Yeah.
Like, just, again, you hit that level 18 mark on the Dazzle if it drags on. You've got the Necrophos spamming out his pulses. It's a lot to eat through, and, you know, at some point, Tiny's burst tapers off. Night Stalker's control is great, but you're tied into the ult and the nighttime. There's some timings there as well, and Necrophos just kind of makes that a bit more complicated than you'd want it to be.
Right.
5 seconds remaining.
Final ban out, Power of Friendship. They do get rid of the Void now, so just removing these position 1 options here for Sincerely Fury, and, well, their final pickup, they are still looking for that position 1. So what will it be? Something to do with the PL. I doubt they'll go for some super late game kind of core here for Fury, just based off the last game, and they won't. They go for the Sven pickup. Another hero that's been kind of jumping back into the popularity pool. And it has looked very strong, especially up against a hero like the PL. We talked about having the illusion clear. Well, he has plenty of it.
Oh, yeah. And it fits into this draft really well. It just has some really strong timings. The Sven can basically start fighting as soon as it wants to once you hit 6. Of course, you do tend to farm up just a bit. Maybe the Echo Saber comes out first. Maybe a BKB, the Ags build up. But there's a lot of ways to kind of play around and ensure that you're not going to be kited. So the Sven has a lot more leeway here in terms of just mobility, and that's something Power of Friendship has to be really careful about. Like, as soon as you see a BKB on the Sven, there's nothing to control him. Like, the Disruptor won't do a thing, Night Stalker won't do a thing, and he's just free to get those hits out. So it's almost the same kind of timers here for Sincerely Fury. Compared to game 1, you could argue that it's going to be a slower start for Zeldy, but I love the closeout from Power of Friendship as well. They kind of tried to punish that Sven with a Winter Wyvern to kind of tie up their team fight. They've got the follow-up with the Disruptor and the Tiny, so there are ways to play a lot more aggressive for Power of Friendship. They're going to have to really pull it off because based on Fury's performance, and these guys are just on top.
They really are. But I do really like that Winter Wyvern last pickup. I agree with you on that. What position are all these heroes going in, though? 9. He'll be on the mid-tiny by the looks of it. So Shifter Jr., of course, going to be the off-lane Night Stalker, and Short Potato on the POS 5 disrupt. Wait. They actually switched up. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
They shifted the position 1s. So Spider Boy's taking over the POS 1 role here. Short Potato will take the POS 5. And Shifsa, I do believe, will be running the position 4 Winter Wyvern.
Yeah, it's an interesting shakeup for Power of Friendship, but again, if they hit their stride, if they manage to get Spider Boy to the point where he wants to be, there is potency. That mid-tiny, we've seen it a lot more in China, and I believe when we have seen it, to be fair, it was Somnus playing. But there is potency. We've seen what it can do when you hit that stride. Echo Saber blinks all you need, and even then, before that, you've just got a lot of damage to play with. So this time around, expect Power of Friendship to try to play a lot faster and really start to apply that pressure onto Fury. And Fury have to be a bit cautious. They don't have that Gorg silencer here. We've got the Dazzle to play around with, but that is a very different set of timers on that hero this time.
I wonder how effective he can prove to be here, because that Dazzle in the laning phase can be a real pain. It's that Shadow Poison spam, and he's got a very nice win rate there. 57 to 30 on the Dazzle. I believe pretty much all of that is, my screen's completely black, John.
Yeah? What is this?
I don't know. I can hear something.
Oh, no, I can't even hear it.
All right, well, it's completely blacked out. This is Dota, so I don't know if we're stuck waiting for the game to load. I don't know if everyone's having the issue yet. I guess I'll find out.
I think I reconnected. I'm back at the versus screen. I think there was a pause. Was there?
Okay. All right. Well, let me quickly reconnect. One moment, please. Got to turn off all of Dota and turn it back on.
Oh no, there was a pause. Yeah, it paused
Okay.
right in the versus screen part for us. That's why we're stuck at the black screen.
Oh.
There you go. Oh, it's a complete disconnect from Power Friendship. This is a classic C move. It's good
Right.
to see the Australians pick it up as well.
Yeah, I'm coming. Hold on 1 second, John. I'll be there very, very soon, sir. Luckily, Dota's not asked me to validate for the 50th time today, which is nice.
Gotta love that.
Let me just make sure I can actually get into the game. Are you still? You're not still on a black screen, are you?
No,
you're
no,
not.
they
Okay.
unpaused. Well, unpaused and repaused just to get
Okay.
out of the black screen.
Okay. And so you're saying everybody on Power of Friendship disconnected, and now we're really only just waiting for Shifsa on the Wyvern.
Yep. Looks like it. They're all good now, but you know, you mentioned it, but there were some funky internet issues in that area, wasn't there?
There's a lot, yeah. It's Australia, John. It can get a bit rough here when it comes to internet.
You're telling me from Southeast Asia, you know?
Yeah,
You're telling me.
yeah. Well, they're proving Power of Friendship. They're proving our point. It's rough. Still, we're only waiting for one, so it shouldn't take too long. Of course, the whole of Sincerely Fury are here and ready to go. So, just one.
Yeah, it's I'm still looking at Short Potato on the Disruptor and just wondering, you know, this is a fairly stark swap out, right? You don't tend to see the pause 1 in one game going to pause 5 the next game in the series, but considering what happened in game 1, this might help shake off that that pressure they felt in game 1. I mean, Short Potato just had a really rough time on the AM. Perhaps Spider Boy can kind of discipline himself to just focus on that farm this time around.
Okay. I mean, it was rough. I can't quite blame the AM in that previous game. I think, again, it was just too much of a fast pace being placed on the side of Power of Friendship that last game. I mean, if anything, like that mid matchup with the Puck versus TA may have been where it really all went wrong. So you just had nobody that could start a team fight for you. Every single time they met up, it just seemed like Sincerely Fury could initiate, and Power of Friendship had no way of doing so. Like after you've got Dream Call out, that's really it. You couldn't do anything else.
Yeah, I mean, they needed to, like, catch a couple of heroes in the cogs, or at least 2. Then you lay on with the Jakiro. It's just, it never lined up. You know, it was a lot more complicated to pull off. This one is much more straightforward. So, you know, again, we'll see if that will help them out this time. Look at Short Potato. He was trying to sub. We can see right through it, sadly, Short Potato.
We'll get into it, John. Game number 2 of this best of 2 series, Power of Friendship, obviously wanting to try and even this one out if they can. Sincerely Fury would love to get a 2-0 here to finish off their night. Because straight after this, John, we do have another matchup. It should be a rather exciting one. Cute Anime Girls is going to be up against Bokebi. So, Yeah,
That
it's a
name's
nice
gonna kill
name.
me.
Yeah.
That game's gonna kill me every single time. I just can't take it seriously. I just can't. It's cute anime. It's
Yeah.
always gonna make me giggle.
That's fine, John. Top lane, of course, we're going to have the a bit of a tri lane to start. You've got very, very early first blood potential here with these three. You could really choose to just run this the whole time if you really want to, but I imagine Gorg will make his way back down to the bot lane later on. They'll probably just attempt the first blood prior to that minute mark. Just get started that way. Shifts is not showing himself quite yet. He knows that something could be wrong here. Now, the loop around. Pings are coming out. They know exactly what's going on. This early first blood attempt should amount to nothing, but Shifts Jr. ran back in for the tag team, and now Gorg is going to be there with the Shadow Poison. Shifts might actually just be dead here. He's trying to make a run for it. Shifts are going to try and help him out. Junior will tick out, perhaps no. He'll barely survive. 30 HP. And I think either way, you're going to be pretty happy about that, considering you're going to make him burn a lot of regen or make him run back to the fountain. He's going to run back to the fountain, Shifts Jr. A decent start already for the side of Sincerely Fury.
Yeah, they're just taking more time away from the Night Stalker, and every single point of EXP does count when you are playing this hero. You have to hit that level 3 mark at a good time. You have to hit that level 5 mark by the first nighttime to have that laning presence up, and even just a few creeps missed out in the wave like this can hurt that progression. So this is going to set back Shifts Jr. just a bit. That gives Zelly a lot more free space to start out with on the Sven, and this matchup really isn't the most spectacular for Shifts Jr. as he gets hit again.
That he does. Shifts up, trying to make a run for it, but looks like he is probably dead. Zelly will take the first blood on the Sven. Shifts on the Wyvern was just unable to help. He's just sitting at that level 1 mark, and we've seen this before. Fury will just harass him out with the Tusk. This position 5 Tusk play from Fury has been quite menacing to the side of Power of Friendship.
Yeah, they go again.
again.
They just can... Oh, no.
Yeah, Stun was there with the tag team, and Shifts, he just really has no way out of this. Great body blocks out. Fury will give the kill over to the Sven, and that'll be the second kill now for Zellyfish. We're not even 2 minutes in yet.
Yeah, and because they forced Shifts Jr. to TP in a while ago, he's walking up top. He's still stuck at level 1, halfway to level 2. And Zelly at this point is just going to take over this lane. And this is an issue when you run that pause for Wyvern. It just does not get as much done in these early levels. They do pump out some good amount of harassment onto Zelly, but he's still got that salve. And that's, again, it's a long cooldown spell to play with that harassment. So there's an opening once more for Fury to just keep twacking.
See you later, nerds.
Well, Fury might need to back off now. Void's going to be out from Shifts Jr. Looks like he'll be just fine. Tries to get a bit of a pull off there, but doesn't really work out. Still mid lane, John. Bronny is up against 9, and 9 is having a bit of a rough time here on the Tiny. Falling just slightly behind in terms of CS at the moment. Gets his salve cancelled, and it's not an easy matchup for this Tiny. Like, you're up against a Puck. Bronny is winning out in the last hit trade, and 9, he has been taking a hell of a lot of harassment out. In fact, I believe that might be his second salve that was brought out on the courier to just keep him up and running.
Yeah, it's going to be a tricky one for 9, and this is really just a fantastic start for Bronny. They've got some decent runes over the wards as well. Wards over the runes as well, so Bronny's going to have that control for that first charge, and Puck's one of those heroes that really depends on those runes to really have that presence. It's just going to be a lot easier when you've got much more mobility compared to a Tiny. So 9's got his work cut out for him. He gets his salve cancelled once more. He's all out of regen on Tiny, and it's a tricky situation because your supports up top are tied up, your supports down bot are tied up as well.
Shifts is having an impossible game. Fury is not giving him a second to breathe. He does manage to get the salve off in time and make a run for it, so looks like he'll be alright. He is still just trying to pull that creep wave away. But Fury is making it as hard as humanly possible. In fact, This pool could actually cut off the wave, though mid lane, 9 almost goes down, he'll survive. But this mid lane's also turning into a bit of a whitewash here for Bronny. So 9 luckily does have his bottle up, so he has a bit of regen on him. But top lane once again, Shifsa just cannot escape this task.
See you later.
Fury will set up another kill for his team.
Yeah, and they're just continuously building up top. You take a look at Zelly, he just hits the level 5 mark. Shifter Jr. is still at level 3. This is not a good spot to be in, and the first Knight's going to be up in 30 seconds. The presence you expect from the Night Stalker, it's just not going to come out, and we haven't even talked about the other lanes. Now in bot, of course, you've got Spider Boy along with Short Potato on the PL and Disruptor, and you've got Nova along with Gorg on the Doom and the Dazzle, and this is not an easy lane for Spider Boy. He's just getting bullied out. You can see Nova pulling ahead. The pressure and the damage and the sustain this duo just brings out is way too much. I mean, Short Potato, he's limited to just casting Thunderstrike, but he's already out of mana. So the presence of the Disruptor doesn't do much.
It's tough. And this is where that support Dazzle can really be effective, right? With that shadow, well, the Poison Strike, whatever it's called, the first ability, Poison Touch. So effective in the laning phase because you could just continue to reset it by just harassing the person you've thrown it onto. And he's only gone for the level 1 of that ability for now, but it's just tough to fight into.
Oh yeah. And it's not like you can really expect any relief from, say, even 9. Like, the Tiny just doesn't do much, and Bronny's trying to make a move already down mid.
Yeah, by himself, he does get tossed into the tier 1 tower, but a Grey jaunt out. He's going to go back in after that Tiny, but 9 has made a run for it. But this is what you want if you're the puck anyway. You just force him out, make it hard.
Zelly?
Top lane, Zelly trying to man-fight here. Shifsa Jr. is going to be healed up. In fact, Zelly's just going to continue going. Shifsa needs to back out of there. The God Strength proving to be too much, and now Shards are out, but Shifsa Jr. will be fine to get out still. Zelly wants to go for more. The Void's going to slow him up. He does still kill off Shifsa Jr. And now Shifsa, well, he doesn't have enough for a Splinter Blast. He'll have to let the Sven run away. And Zellyfish just really playing on the edge there on the Sven, but it works out. He just goes back to farming now.
Oh yeah, that efficiency from Zelly is just on top. He's going for the Midas Rush on the Sven, so he's going to escalate even more, given the space he has now. And just Fury's just finding everything.
Short Potato goes down the bot lane. Gorg going to be able to run away. Spider Boy going back in, does claim the kill, but it's not worth his own life. And he will go down. And so Gorg sacrificing himself for the greater good, John. Works out very nicely for Sincerely Fury.
Yeah, and it's almost a repeat of game 1. We're at the 7-minute mark. It's 1-6. It's a 3k lead for Sincerely Fury. Power of Friendship are just not finding openings, and I hate to sound like a broken record. I think that a lot of that comes down to the support duo, although Fury's in an awkward spot now.
He is. He's still trying to make it hard, but Shifsa Jr. does get the kill. And that'll be the second kill of the game for Power of Friendship. Meanwhile, bot lane. It's like Gorg was trying to make a chase with Nova, but they won't be able to reach the Disruptor. Just let him go. You've also got Zelly rotating down as the Sven. They're going to really just chase down Short Potato. This Disruptor not catching a break, does go down. And with that, we saw this last game. They just set up for that bottom tier 1 tower.
Yeah, and down mid as well, 9.
He's gone. Fury again. There with the setup on the Tusk. Shifsa Jr. going to come in. Shifsa, unfortunately, cold embraced himself. And well, they might still be able to chase down this Tusk. Fury still making a run for it. He has no way of escaping this unless he just goes by his tier 1 tower. He goes back in now with the tag team, trying to fight back. And, well, Shifsa Jr. might just be dead and does go down. Bronny, he does juke out the Splinter Blast and he'll be just fine. Meanwhile, bot lane, they are still just continuously pushing in this bottom tier 1 tower.
Oh man, they had a chance to at least kill Fury, but they keep switching targets here. Just running around like headless chickens and they get punished. And that same time we're in game 1, Mike. 8 minutes, 40 seconds in. Fury takes that bot tier 1. You've got Zelly rotating out of top lane. You've got kills down mid. You've got the rotation down mid to take control of the jungle. And Spider-Boy now being caught out.
Oh, he has. Spider-Boy does not want to die like this. He does at least kill off Fury before he does go down. But Nova, with the Scorched Earth, just going to be able to follow him and just burn him out. It's becoming a real cleanup here, John. 3 and 10, 5k net worth lead already 9 minutes in. Of course, they're going to try and trade that top tier 1 tower as their own bottom tier 1 tower went down for Power of Friendship. They're going to pop that Night Stalker ultimate, trying to go after Gorg, and Gorg looks to probably just be dead. He does get the Shallow Grave off, he's using the Poison Touch, but nobody's coming in to help him out. He does go down. And that'll allow Power of Friendship to push out this top tier 1, but you don't really want to lose your mid tier 1 tower while that's happening.
No, definitely not. And that's going to be a favorable trade for Sincerely Fury if they manage to get this push going. And you don't really have the defensive tools ready on Power of Friendship. They don't have level 600 Winter Wyvern, so there's no Winter's Curse. There's no Static Storm as well. The options for them to actually fight in a bigger team fight are rather limited compared to the power spike Fury's on right now.
It's going to be a big team fight mid if the side of Power of Friendship want to take this fight, but it's very, very dangerous. It's 4 heroes from Sincerely Fury are forcing this tier 1 tower, and it's like, how do you initiate right now? You don't have 6 on either of your supports on the side of Power of Friendship. You don't have Nighttime either, which makes it that much harder, nor do you have the ulti of the Night Stalker. So Sincerely Fury, they just take a free tier 1 tower, and now the Radiant jungle's theirs.
Yeah, this is just going to enable that greed Fury's built up. Zelly already has his Midas up. He's just farming up into the Echo Saber. Once you're there, I mean, our Sven is already pretty insane as is, but he's going to have a lot more burst damage to pump out, and Power of Friendship still need to wait for a lot to come out. They need Spider-Boy to hit that defusal mark. Probably need the Manta Style on top of that as well. They're going to need the Blink on 9 to really maximize this Tiny, and he's just not that close to it. It's just such a slow ramp up for Power of Friendship, and Fury's just not giving them any room to breathe, as a lot of the space on the map is just shrinking here for the Radiant side.
Zelly just taking ancient stacks. Just that net worth lead he has just getting higher and higher as time goes on. There's just still no way for Power of Friendship to fight back here. They've at least got the 6 now on the Wyvern, so you've got a bit more team fight going for yourself. Sure Potato trying to secure his own level 6 timing up at that top lane. Just soaking XP off the creep wave, and bot lane, they are going to try and make a play onto Shifter, it seems. He'll just fly his way over to the tree line. The orb, not going to scout him out. He'll go for the TP, but now the tree line, no. The TP will be there in time. Bronny not getting the Dream Call off. And they won't mind anyway, John. I think they're just going to continue forcing in that bottom tier 2 tower. There's just no reason to fight if you're Sincerely Fury at the moment.
They're just continuing to farm up. They know they've got this massive 8k lead at the 12-minute mark.
9.
They might be able to catch more.
He's caught out. Shard's going to block the staircase and now Stun flying out. He does have help around the corner, but they are all making a run for it. 9 has been abandoned. And that's your mid-tiny that goes down with basically no items. Still working towards that Blink Dagger.
And this is not the spot where you want to be. They rely on that Tiny to make the plays for them, and Sincerely Fury, they haven't committed any of their ults. They do smoke up just to get a bit of a warding run done with Fury and Gorg, and just maintaining that aggressive vision is going to allow them to keep eyes on Spider-Boy.
Fury, he does spot out Spider-Boy. Shards, of course, aren't going to land. He does juke it out quite nicely. This is all just slowing down the farm of the PL even further. And they'll just take over the Radiant side triangle now. POF, they're going to try to roam in. They do force out the side of Sincerely Fury, but Glimpse is going to be there on King of the Gorgonites. Gorg looks to actually be just fine. He's walking back up towards them. They do have a ward there, so they have plenty of vision, and now they just rush in again. There's going to be a Dream Call out onto 9. That's your mid-tiny. He needs help, and there's the curse coming out now from Shifsa onto Explosive Fury, but he won't die. He gets a snowball off, and now Shifsa does go down. to Zellyfish as well as Shifter Jr., who needs to make a run for it. Nobody really dying apart from Sincerely Fury, and now Bronny does kill off Shifter Jr., and Short Potato also set to go down. And the only person to die on the dire side was Explosive Fury.
Yeah, and that makes this a whole exchange worthwhile, of course, for Fury. Spider Boy does get some space on Phantom Lancer. That's a silver lining for POF. It's not quite as much as you'd want. He's still not finding amazing farm. You're still losing map control to Fury's movements as they build up that lead. 5 to 15, 11k net worth lead now. And the problems just continue to pile up. There's just no breathing room for the rest of these heroes to find those key items.
Well, Fury's looking for a snowball. He won't bother. Just gets a nice deep ward out in that mid lane, but they do spawn out Shifter Jr. Just wards everywhere from the dire side, and with those shards out, perfect from Explosive Fury. It's going to be another kill onto Shifter Jr. It's just these wards that are out, John. They've got vision of everything. Now just going into that Radiant Triangle. There is a Doom out, and I believe they may have caught the PL, and they do Nova. He got the real target. Now 9 trying to force them back here, but Explosive Fury and Gorg are on top. Meanwhile, Spider Boy 45, he does end up going down. I mean, there's another one. The Disruptor dies at the bot lane just to Zellyfish alone. You got 9 out on the Tiny at least, but that's really it. There's just nothing else that's going right here for Power of Friendship.
Yeah, I mean, none of it's lining up. You're just sacrificing one core for another. These timings aren't in play. They're not able to group up to punish the clump up from Sincerely Fury. Oh no.
Yeah, they know. They know exactly where he is. He gets silenced up. He can't curse even if he wanted to. He will just go down. And Tier 1 tower will continue going down, but Explosive Fury may have gone too far. Shifter Jr. is going to spot him out, and now with the Avalanche setup, they should be able to at least kill off this support Tusk, and they do. Would love to get Zelly. In fact, Zelly's going in by himself now. Stun going to fly out on the peel. Does he really have enough damage already? It looks like he just might. In fact, 9 going to save him with the Avalanche, and now the toss out of the Static Storm. Not what they wanted, but they're still getting damage out. Perhaps they can kill off this Zelly. He's in the run now. Shifter Jr. going to follow him up though. No, he turns around with a stunner now with 3-man coil out from Bronny. No. They're going to clean him up. There goes 9. There goes Short Potato. They got the Winter's Curse off, so at least Zelly does die. But that's all they get. It's 4 for the price of 1, and Zellyfish gets many, many tips for his trouble.
Oh no, it's I mean, they finally get that kill on Zelly, but they're still losing more. Like,
it's a full team wipe. It's just a full team wipe coming out for Sincerely Fury. Oh boy.
It's not lining up. We talked about this draft with the supports. We talked about the fact that they've got this great team fight. It's not amazing when you toss the spin out of the Static Storm. You know, the coordination's just not there from Power of Friendship, and they need the Winter's Curse with that Static Storm follow-up and just tie this team fight together. They're just not finding that opening, and every single time Fury gets to dance around us. They still have the Doom. Like, Nova didn't even have to pop it for that team fight to go their way.
No, he did not. That's just gonna make things even harder as they're not done yet. Nova, he just rushes in again with the Doom. He just pops it. And now the shards are perfect again from Explosive Fury. And Gorg is actually the one to pick it up, but now a Dream Coil is out down at the bot lane, and it looks like they found another. It is going to be the support Disruptor, the Short Potato. He's going to drop the Static Storm, but that'll be it. He'll have to just go down, and Shifter Jr. can't follow up on the puck. Bronny is going to survive. And it's back into that mid lane to go after that Tier 2 tower.
Yeah, they just can't defend. They've got the Winter's Curse up if they wanted to. Looks like Fury's had enough. They're going to pull back for now. They've still got a lot of room to grow. Zellyfish is just about done with his Ags. Just lacking that Blade of Alacrity now to finish it up. Once you've got the Sven Ags, he's got mobility for days. And of course, they haven't done the Roche yet. We're at the 18-minute mark. Fury does want to at least give Roshan a visit for continuing further.
Here we go again. DD rune up on Zelly, going to make things a lot easier. There is going to be a bit of a counterplay coming out. They're going to try and rush this Roshan pit. If they get a very nice curse off, it could turn everything. Sure Potato, though, doesn't have Static Storm at 9. He jumps in for a great avalanche, and now the curse is there on Zelly. They're trying to get this Sven dead. He's alive for now, but eventually does go down, and now Shifsa Jr. will chase for more. They get the snowball off on Fury. Meanwhile, Shifsa does end up dying, but the Tusk is also going to go down. Now the avalanche toss on Nova, but he'll survive. They'll chase down the Disruptor, and it looks like Sure Potato is going to go down, but Nova being saved by Gorg will make the TP out of there, and Gorg will try to also TP out. He will not be so lucky. But the Roshan is still going to be up, so the Radiant side now going back in. The puck is around. Bronny a bit far away, however. This Roshan is soon to go down, but Fury might try for the snowball and does go for it. The Roche has been taken. Aegis will be there on Spider-Boy 45, and Fury, he was a bit late to the party. And everyone does get out from the power of friendship with a brand new Aegis intact.
Yeah, and that's what Power of Friendship needed. They just need a really good Winter's Curse on key target. They find that fight, and they do actually find a very clean win for themselves this time around. That does give them some more room to, more room to breathe here. They still need a lot to build up. Like, you're still seeing Spider-Boy fall really far behind. At least with the Aegis, he does have a little bit more leeway, a little bit more safety to get that farm up, but you've still got a lot of answers here on the side of Fury. Like Zelly, he's going to have that Ags up sooner rather than later on the Sven. And again, that's just going to be such a massive issue. Even Nova is inching towards his Shiva's guard really soon. And that just boosts the presence of the Sven even more. And he's just been a massive issue for this entire team of POF. And even that Ags on Bronny's up, so that Dream Coil is just going to be that much more effective now as well.
That it is. Pings are already coming out. Spider-Boy, he did get spotted there. Nobody making the jump in. I say that, Jellyfish wants to make a chase. He's going to start rushing forward. They still have the pings flying out. Bronny looking for a Dream Coil attempt. Does get it off. Now the PL just stuck there. They are going to drop the Static Storm onto that Sven, but it's doing nothing up against Jellyfish, who still hasn't even used God Strength yet. They'll just get the Aegis first. Now the God Strength to be popped. Spider-Boy, great curse out. It's going to be on Zelly. He is getting attacked from all sides. And Zelly, he's going to try and fight back. He will eventually survive thanks to the snowball of Explosive Fury. But now the toss in with the shallow grave out from Gorg. There goes Short Potato. Now Shifsa Jr. will also die in the Night Stalker. And the Sven, well, he eventually does go down. But they kept him alive for so darn long. And it is very well worth it. For Sincerely Fury, they are just completely wiping out the power of friendship. In fact, Bronny, what are you doing there, sir? He's actually going to try and juke this out, and he does. He'll make it. Still looking to go back in after Shifsa, it seems. You'll be alright. You'll go back towards that tier 2 tower.
Oh, that was a dicey spot for him, but still a major win for Sincerely Fury. They take the Aegis out, they take Spider-Boy out once more. And POF, I mean, without Aegis, they don't do as much as they'd expect. They do at least find that consolation prize in our Sven, but Jellyfish is farming into the Lincolns to prevent that Winter's Curse, or at least make it a bit harder to land that one out, and make it a little bit more feasible to have the spacing of Sincerely Fury be better. I think the key thing is that Borg just needs to be out of that AoE. If you can catch them and put the Shallow Grave on top of Zelly, then you've pretty much counteracted the only way POF has to get back in this game. And that really is the game plan here for Power of Friendship. They just need those Winter's Curses to fly out from Shifsa. He has to be on point with his targeting. He's been doing that really well so far.
Oh, Zelly.
But
bit of a passive Midas here, John. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Now he'll use it. He was waiting to get to the neutral camp. Though I do agree with you, though. It's not really like they need the Shallow Grave anyway. Even if he was outside of the range of that Winter's Curse, like, it just doesn't seem to matter. If Zelly survives with a slither of HP, he just clears them out. You eventually have enough time to get the shallow grave and the snowball off. Still, power of friendship.
Oh.
They do jump in. Looks like they have found out Short Potato, and he's going to die very easily. Now a quick smoke up. They know the rest of them are there somewhere. Spider-Boy and Shifts are just going to hide in the tree line, and they should be able to just make it out with these TPs. And this smoke out from Sincerely Fury, I
See you later,
don't
nerds.
believe it'll lead to anything here. Just back into that mid lane to go after that tier 2 tower. Or maybe it does. 9. They spot him out. The Dream Core is going to be there from Bronny with the follow-up stun from Zelly. He has the axe up, and 9 is just going to get shredded. In fact, Shifts up. He'll be fine. Get the TP off in time.
Oh, that Sven Ags just looks ridiculous.
It looks
single time.
ridiculous, but it's very effective.
Oh yeah. No, don't get me wrong. It does the work. And Zelly's got all the mobility he wants. And man, you're reaching that point where even if you drag Zelly down low enough, he's gonna have a Satanic anyway. With his right clicks, he's just gonna recoup that HP up, even if his Winter is cursed. And you still start to wonder how POF come back in, how the power of friendship overcomes this hardship. They're farming up a SNY on Spider-Boy. At this point in the game, though, it's just so late for that pickup on the PL. It doesn't feel... It's definitely not going to be enough. It's going to give him more presence, but you've still got a lot of issues against this lineup here.
That is for sure. Sincerely Fury, they're just going to keep pushing towers. I mean, that top tier 2 tower is essentially the only one left standing outside the base.
Top tower is under attack.
I just don't see Power of Friendship being able to really defend this off by themselves. They have popped a smoke, but how do you get in there? They'll just let the tier 2 drop. They aren't going to have enough time. And that'll be it. Or maybe not. Sincerely Fury, they turn back around. Perhaps they're going high ground already. You have got the Blink Dagger up on Nova. And that can make things a lot more challenging now for Power of Friendship. In fact, never mind, they jump in with the toss back on the Doom, but he got the BKB off, straight with the Doom onto Shifsa, and he gets blown up by Zelly, and now a great Dream Call out from Bronny. They are just diving them underneath tier 4 towers. There goes Shifsa Jr., there goes Short Potato. The buybacks are coming out, but does it mean anything, John? 9's trying, but he gets a toss-off on a creep instead, and he just gets slammed. It's a cleanup. It's a rampage for Zellyfish. There's only 3 heroes left on the side of Power of Friendship to try and defend this. They do get a glimpse back into a Static Storm, but it may not matter. The Avalanche tosses there 9. He finishes off the pop. But Fury, in fact, no. The GG has been called anyway. And that'll be it. It'll be 2-0 for the side of Sincerely Fury, and well, unfortunately for Power of Friendship, it was a pretty rough series for him.
Oh yeah, it's dominant showing from Sincerely Fury. That toss from 9, I think his chat wheel set off it. He regretted that. That
Right.
was not the target. Right into the Winter Wyvern that you depended on. Rough, but a better showing in game 2. They still didn't have the answers, and Fury, I mean, that's why they were the favorites, Mike. The odds told the story. Fury does come out of it really clean in this series.
You know what this teaches us, John?
What?
Casters can be players too. You know, Gorg was left, very long into the draft, but eventually he got picked up. Obviously, Fury understood what everyone else was missing, and as you can see, an easy 2-0 series.
Oh yeah,
I'll be available next season. So if anyone wants to pick me up, I'll be here and ready to go. Otherwise, it is MLP Dota and John X Fire. We do have another series coming up. Your favorite team in this current season 2, John, of course, Cute Anime Girls, going to be up against Bokebi. And that'll be another best of 2. And that should be starting relatively soon. Still, it is MLP Dota and John X Fire. We'll see you all again when that first game is up. And we'll see how that turns out. See you soon. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here for our first game of our second series of the night between Bokebi and Cute Anime Girls. It is MLP Dota and John X Fire. John, welcome back, sir. I'm sure you're very, very excited for this matchup. How are you feeling, mate?
I'm feeling great. You know, that first series we had, that was explosive, and it's good to see that there's a lot of entertainment coming out from the scene still. This one's going to be a bit closer, I want to say. Bokebi, you know, this is a team that we've seen at least the core of it before. I believe majority of this is from Benny Bryan in Season 1. The core of it being Masiwe, Y-God, and Kess, with a few shuffles here and there. So it's going to be interesting to see them play up against Cute Anime Girls. You know, it's a really big stack as well. You've got Calvin, you've got Miguel's, you've got Matino, of course, you've got Magic and Hales. It's going to be interesting to see. We've had this discussion a bit about the hero pools, the support pools in particular coming out here for Cute Anime Girls, and just how that will shake up. The last time we saw Magic play, she tended to go for the pause for Luna and the Sniper, at least in the games we casted. It's been a while since that mate has been there, so should be a shakeup here for how Cute Anime Girls does go around their draft. I just noticed your banner.
They're really going with the theme, John. They are really going with the Cute Anime Girls theme. Did you, by any chance in the lobby, did you spot out any profile pics that were actually anime girls? Did they fully commit to the theme?
No, not fully. I think Calvin was still using his usual profile pic, but I think Magic was using some anime girl. I don't know about Miguel's was on some One Piece thing. I don't know.
Very disappointing.
You know, I'm not a very good weeb, Mike. Not very good.
It's very true. Still, the draft has begun. We've got a Dark Willow Mars upon us for Bokebi and Cute Anime Girls. Of course, they started off with the Tiny. It's been a very, very popular pick as of late. Their second pickup now.
5 seconds.
I do wonder, because the Tiny is such a flexible pick in the current meta, right? Like, you see it so much as a core role now in that mid lane, and you do also tend to see it in the support role if it kind of calls for it. They won't really reveal too much. They go into the Grimstroke, and that could potentially be their support duo, or alternatively, could be their core Tiny support Grimstroke.
Yeah, it's really open here for Cute Anime Girls. Bokebi is kind of more locked in to core Mars down off lane, but again, we've seen mid Mars a couple of times with the Dark Willow support. This combination for Bokebi, it's been a while since we've seen it. It's still effective. You get the fear off in the arena. They're going to keep hurting themselves. There is that. Of course, the AoE control you can build up. The early presence of the Dark Willow and the Mars is something to watch out for, but Cute Anime Girls, again, it's much more open. You mentioned the possibility for the core Tiny. Certainly something Cute Anime Girls could consider if they wanted to. And with the Grimstroke on their side, there's a lot of combinations you could see come out, like, say, the Ember Spirit perhaps coming out here if you want to run something else mid, or something that can work with a Soulbind well. Like, maybe you could pick up the support Bane to tie up with that, just to get that double control. A lot of possibilities there for the Cute Anime Girls.
That's true. Can't forget either that if you could just hold your laughter for a second, sir. You really are giggling every time you say that name of the team. But can't forget KP is coaching this team as well, right? Like, that's a pretty big deal, you know? Professional Tier 1 player coaching your team. See how it all pans out. I mean, he should have quite a bit of influence in the draft, I'm sure. That is occurring right now. So, see what the game plan is here from him. Still, one final ban out for each team. Bokebi, they got rid of the Jug. Cute Anime Girls, they removed the Void. Both teams are seemingly focusing on the position ones. Bokebi could just choose to get rid of another POS 1 right now if they so wish. There's still plenty available.
Yeah, and for Cute Anime Girls as well, they're leaving that Phoenix combination with the Mars and the Dark Willow in the pool. That's something they've got to watch out for. We've seen that be really popular in China, but that can kind of still work out. You know, you've got the Egg outside the arena or right next to the Mars with Bulwark, which is still the dumbest interaction I've seen in the game. But you can make that work if you did want to go back to that stable combination and go all in on the arena.
It is a really stupid kind of thing, that Bulwark ability that Mars has. It just really makes no sense, the way it does work. And I mean, you could go back into the Phoenix. I doubt they'll do it, but I guess a POS 5 Phoenix here for Bokebi could work. If you wanted to just run the position 4 Dark Willow. Still, we'll have to wait. Cute Anime Girls, they are still waiting for their final ban out. Do they want to just ban the Phoenix right now? I mean, I
think it's sensible.
It's a sensible ban to make, but no, they'll get rid of the AM.
I think that's fair. When you've got Grimstroke Tiny, you don't have the combinations to hold him down unless you commit to something like a Bane, or you don't have the option for the Doom, sadly, for the double Doom. So just take out those slippery sorts of POS 1s. We've seen the AM be really popular. I mean, we've seen it at least today, and we've seen it a lot in China, so it makes sense. But Cute Anime Girls, they go back to the Spectre. We've seen a lot of as well. It's going to be interesting to see how they play around it. Like, we've tended to see Spectres play a lot faster with Meteor Hammer, with drums, right? Like, it's all about that first few haunts. Bokebi, though, they do get to pick up the clock. We've seen a lot. And with a Dark Willow, that does tie up really nicely. So there's a lot of aggression here. Bokebi can pump out and make it a bit trickier for the Spectre to hit that timing.
That is true. It kind of works well with the Mars to boot, right? Because you can really just make that arena so much smaller if you put a cogs in the middle of it. Not that you really need to do that, because you do have the Dark Willow with Terrorize anyway, but it can be quite problematic here for Cute Anime Girls. Still, their fourth pickup now, already looking very, very strong. And it really was just based off those drums changes. It feels like the Spectre became so much more, not only popular, but just more early game focused, right? With those initial haunts that come out, and now a Warlock is upon us.
Whew, I love this one. I love it. It's beautiful, Mike. It's Soulbind and Fatal Bonds. Can someone say double Fatal Bonds there in one? Oh, it's just beautiful. It's now there are a lot of weaknesses here, mainly the fact that you've got Haunt on long cooldown, you've got Chaotic Offering on really long cooldown. But I love it. It's explosive. When you do get your fight out, this is an absolutely amazing team fight from Cute Anime Girls. It still has to consider the area denial that the Morris brings and the Clockwork, but this is still really tied in. If they just go for a mid pickup here for Cute Anime Girls, that gives them even more team fight to play off of those Fatal Bonds. I think you've got yourself a really strong lineup, but it is feeling like it's going to be the mid tiny, perhaps, so they're going to have to look for a last pick on the off lane unless they throw that curveball and put the tiny off, which can work. It's just much more common down mid, I think.
Oh, Bokebi, they're having a very heavy think about this 4th pick now, so perhaps that Warlock putting a bit of a spanner in the works here for them. I do love the double Fatal Bonds into like a Spectre Haunt. Can be quite devastating, along with the avalanche toss of the Tiny, of course. Can be a hell of a lot of damage being split up between everyone. Bokebi thinking very heavily for this 4th pickup. You still have the option to just pick up 2 more cores, and I believe that's what they're trying to do. You already know the safe lane of Cute Anime Girls, so you'd assume that there should be a safe lane pickup here from Bokebi, and they'll probably leave their mid lane hero till later on. They are still thinking, however. 23 seconds left. If I remember correctly as well, in fact, hold that thought, because they are going to go for the Ursa pickup.
I mean, that works really well against the Spectre, of course. You stack out those swipes, you can really tear in. You've got slightly earlier timers. Depends if you will rush that Battle Fury we tend to see. It can play fast, though. With a Mars, with a clock, I think this is a very quick pace from Bokebi compared to Cute Anime Girls. Again, Cute Anime Girls has to wait for the Chaotic Offering, wait for Haunt, and those are really slow spells. There's a lot of openings there for Bokebi to really exploit.
That there is. Final banouts now. The Ember Necrophos being removed. Of course, Cute Anime Girls not wanting to have to deal with that Necrophos if they can avoid it. The Ember ban, quite interesting for me, John, being removed here from Bokebi, so could indicate something like a mid TA coming out here for Bokebi if they so wish. Something that just doesn't enjoy going up against the Ember. We'll see the Puck also being removed now from Bokebi, and I wonder what they do throw in that mid lane for this Radiant side draft, right? Because you've got this kind of draft that wants to fight. They don't want to drag this out. They don't want to give too much control away to Cute Anime Girls this game number 1. Matter of what they're going to pick up to really be able to apply that influence in this game.
Yeah, it's can be rather interesting. I'd say if you want to really play fast, I mean, Void Spirit would have been good, but it's been banned out. Perhaps considering something like the Queen of Pain? That's been fairly popular. It's still in the pool. They go with it in the end. Yeah, just a clean pickup for Bokebi, playing into that team fight they got with Mars. Right. You've got mobility from the Clock and Quap. You've got a lot to play with here.
I like it. Still Cute Anime Girls. They do still have 1 pickup left. This will reveal where this Tiny's going. I imagine it must be going into the off lane now. Like, you could throw it mid, but up against the Quap, it can be a bit rough. Especially with just that Shadow Strike spam can get a little bit annoying for the Tiny.
Yeah, it's also not the most Miguel's hero. It is.
I was watching an LY stream the other day, and he was saying something like Invoker's the only worthwhile mid to play, but it is going to go to Miguel. So Miguel takes the Invoker mid, and looks like LY will take the Spectre instead. He'll be in the safe lane, and it's looking pretty good. Both drafts looking fairly interesting. it should be an action-packed game number 1.
Oh, it definitely will be. A lot of timings from both ends going against each other. Cute anime girls, again, tied into their cooldowns. And there's a lot of pressure on Miguel's to really get going. We've seen this on Invokers. Once you taper off, it's hard to catch back up. So they need to get that Invoker space. I'm sure Y God's not going to make that easy down mid. But once you hit the stride here for Cute Anime Girls, when you have Chaotic offering up, when you've got Haunt up, there is a lot to be scared of in these team fights. So it's back and forth. And I have to tell you, Mike, I'm looking at Masiway. He's got that Ursa Immortal. I don't know what to say, Mike. He has it.
Don't be mad, John. Don't be jelly.
He has it. He has it. Look at that bear. Look at it.
Just means you didn't spend enough money, John. How many treasures did you open up, by the way? I know you were very upset about not getting that Ursa Immortal.
40... I want to say 46 in my levels. Yeah, I think it was around 46 with a few from the benefactors. Yeah, it's disappointing, but at least we do get the pleasure of seeing someone with it. Still, it's going to be an interesting one. A bit out of topic as well. I do want to point out that Magic has this fantastic Warlock set. Look at that. Just looks like something from Ghost of... Yeah.
With the samurai thing, right? The golem's like a... You told me you didn't like the whole golem, though.
I didn't like the golem, but I like the set. Look at it. It's pretty sick. I use my own golem because it's a rarer golem. So I gotta flash that status, Mike.
Right.
The little flexing I can do, but that set is really sick. No immortals, but you can't fault it when it looks this good, you know?
That you can't. We do have a reconnection out from Calvin. We're just waiting on Magic now, and we should be good to go. What is it, John? You sound very excited about something.
No, I'm just looking at Magic start. This is, you know, it's just a Warlock start. 4 mangoes, a clarity. I would probably go with half the tangos and maybe try to take out that sentry and just greed out for like a Windlace, just because I like to move fast. But this is, you know, this is Warlock. You just stand there, you get your mana up, you pump out Shadow Word. It's gonna be really tricky to completely shove out LY here, just because Magic Sustain is gonna be pretty annoying. Now, you do have a lot of strong presence from Bokebi though. Like, you know, you've got the Clockwork you've got to contend with. You've got that, excuse me, that Dark Willow as well, with the early Blightstone start, to really start applying that right click. So there's a lot here you still have to be cautious about, but for the most part, I think LY should be able to find that start with Magic up top, and this does set their Spectre up for a smoother start. It's not going to be as exciting because, you know, it's a Warlock game. It's very passive, but you can get a lot of work done for your Spectre in this way.
Yeah, I suppose you can. Make their way up top. Of course, the bot lane is going to have the Grimstroke being played by Matino. You're going to have Calvin there on the Tiny in the off lane. It's been a bit since I've seen off lane Tiny myself, so see how he does perform on this. Could be a bit rough considering there are a lot of heroes starting down bot. You've got Kess and Game is Hard there. Masiway is also going to be there on the Ursa, so they're going to try for perhaps a very early first blood attempt down the spot lane. Tino should see the Ursa, but not very well aware of Kess right now. Sitting there with those brown boots, level 1 battery assault, of course. If you do get the battery assault off on something like Matino on this Grimstroke, it's going to be very hard for him to get out of there. Yeah, even Calvin might have a bit rough if they do manage to close the gap, but Matino seems to be aware something is wrong here. He does just keep his distance, and ultimately Bokebi won't be able to secure first blood. That'll mean Kess just makes his way back up towards that top lane of the Clockwork, where Endless was copping a fair bit of harassment on the Mars. He'll be alright. Just have to eat some regen and get back up, but ultimately you'd have to make the argument Cute Anime Girls did get the slightly better start, considering they got that harass out.
Yeah, and they're going to have themselves a good time up top. A dual melee lane up against something like a Warlock. I mean, you can still pump out damage, but this is something that Hales can just dance around. LY can just keep his spacing right, try to avoid harassment. It's really just down to Magic, trying to play offensively. And, you know, Shadow Word, it's decent damage early on. It's not amazing, but that's the beauty of it. If you're not going to be healing up, at least you can get some damage out in the laning phase as well.
Of course, that mid matchup, Miguel is going to be there up against Wygod. Wygod going to be looking to apply as much pressure as he possibly can on Miguel in this laning phase, especially considering he did go the Quas build for now. Just throw the Cold Snap out on Wygod, but he'll be just fine to stand his ground and keep trying to trade harass here with the Invoker. And it does seem like Miguel is probably just going to commit for the Quas Wex build here on this Voker. He does. So just opting for the control and the initiation on this Invoker rather than that extra damage from the Exhort build.
Yeah, it's been a while as well since we've seen Miguel on the Invoker. Like, I don't even recall it from Season 1 too often. We saw a lot more of his Puck and
Calvin. He went a bit too close there. Masiwe just makes the jump in, and game is hard. Had the Brambles mates. Very easy first blood out for the side of Bokebi. In fact, top lane, they're also going to lose Magic. Of course, LY are unable to help out on the Spectre. And that'll be 2-0 already for the side of Bokebi.
Yeah, and this is something Bokebi can really punish. Well, especially that top lane. Like, they've got sustain on Warlock, sure, but if you can isolate the Warlock, pin them down, it's really easy to clean up. And again, without any sort of movement speed start for Magic, the clockwork with boots can really punish a slow hero like that. So Bokebi needs to continue that presence. This isn't slowing down our Spectre's farm too much. They need to start making sure that LY's farm doesn't accelerate with these kinds of movements. They just keep applying that pressure and shut them down. And that bot lane, I mean, that first blood already came out. You know, it's been a good start for Masiwe as well, and they're still keeping that pressure up.
That they are. Calvin, he's getting low again. Masiwe just going to chase him down, and game is hard. Will have the damage. Matino, he'll make a run for it on the Grimstroke with that Inkswell, and it does connect onto the Ursa, but it won't matter. Matino, he's also going to go down. This time, Masiwe does manage to take the kill on the Ursa. And with top lane, it's not over yet. LY is being chased down by Endless and Kess. He'll be alright to survive, but he does lose a hell of a lot of HP. And still, the side of Cute Anime Girls, John, they're yet to pick up a kill this game.
It's a slower lineup for them. Like, the fastest lane they've got is Calvin's lane. That's where the most damage available for this team is. And Calvin's been trying, but every time he closes that gap, he's punished by the control that can come out from our Dark Willow. So it's been a tricky one here for the side of Cute Anime Girls. And again, Bokebi is just maintaining that early presence. They're winning out in pretty much every single lane so far. It's going to hurt that acceleration that you want to see here from Cute Anime Girls. Especially Calvin, he's still stuck at 2. Compare that to Masiwe at 4. And this is an atrocious time for the offlane Tiny.
It really is, and you know, considering you have that level advantage over the Tiny, there's really no way Calvin can slow down Masiwe anymore. It's just a free lane for the Ursa. But Matino just kind of leaving the lane for a bit, trying to contest power runes, but eventually Miguel Z is the one to pick it up, and now Kez is going to be chased down, but they do get the Conks pushback on Miguel, and he looks like he's gone a bit too far. And that'll mean Wygod is able to kill him off on the Quap. And that'll be the 5th kill already for the side of Bokebi.
Yeah, they're really playing their lineup well. They're just finding all these early game openings, and Cute Anime Girls, they get the rotation in a bit too late for Matino to help out. But with this kind of start for Wygod, he's just going to be able to take over that lane from Miguel. And he's a level behind. That's not where you want to be when you're playing the Invoker. He's going to have to dip into that jungle sooner rather than later, and he's going to have to split that farm with a lot of other heroes, because every single lane has been a lot slower for Cute Anime Girls.
It has been. Top lane looks like they might be willing to go again very, very soon. Just some bottles coming out for Endless, though it is going to be cancelled off by LY. Magic does juke out the spear there, quickly taking the boundary rune for herself. You can see the side of Bokebi at this top lane. At least Kess and Endless, they do want to try and make a play here into LY, but he's playing very, very safe in the Spectre. Not really giving any openings at all. Of course, with that Warlock, you have constant HP regen coming in. So LY should be relatively safe up until that level 6 mark at least for the Mars.
Dire's middle tower is under
Meanwhile,
attack.
bot lane, they do spot out Game is hard on the Willow, but he should be just fine to get out of here as Calvin. He's going to make the rotation in, but the Avalanche never really came out, and he leaves with less HP than he came in with.
Yeah, it's just not easy. Like, when they try to gap close with Game is hard, just pops out Shadow Realm, it's always better for him to trade, especially when the Brambles land like that, so... You're not finding the openings here for cute anime girls. There is a lot of farm going on to Masuway. As you mentioned, LY is finding almost the same space up top, but I think the earlier farm for an Ursa is much more devastating because this hero can play a lot faster outside of Haunt for the Spectre. So you've got a lot more timings to hit here with Masuway, and you've got a lot more aggression that can come out from this kind of start here.
It's going to be very, very important for LY to probably get involved early on this Spectre, and he's farming very well. Endless, going to be able to just spear him away and get himself out of there, and Kess is also going to rotate in now on the Clockwork. But they just can't do anything to slow down the Spectre. And so LY 45 and 11 already. Looking great. He kind of needs it. He's going for that very early Soul Ring, just trying to speed up his farm, but you'd imagine he does go for that early, very early, like, drums build here. Something like that, just to be able to fight with his team. So it does feel like, just based with this start, they are probably going to need it. In fact, Miguel is getting dived right now. Sonic Wave going to be committed by Y-God. Kess was unable to break the gap. Perhaps a bit too early there from Y-God. Miguel will survive with his life intact.
Yeah, it's a fairly close call. He was forced to pop his salve as well, but he's got himself some space over Y-God. That's really important for Invoker. Just a lot of catching up to do on the hero. He's trying to save up for his urn. He's going to have it relatively early. He's going to have to find charges to really start applying pressure on the map. And then with no kills on the map yet, it's tricky to find that space to actually get that urn charge up. You need to find that first kill first.
Bot lane, they are making the jump in onto Calvin, but Inkswell will protect him for now. Masiway does take the stun and just turn back around onto Calvin. Curse Crown's going to be there, and he got trapped by the Brambles maze. Now Matino, going to be chased down to the Grimstroke. Some interesting decisions out from this off lane of the Diagon. It seemed like they had a chance to run for it after that Inkswell was popped, but they kind of just turned back around.
Yeah, and that's really been the name of the game down bot. The maze has just really messed up the movement of cute anime girls, and it's just making it tricky. Calvin's at, look at the level difference. Calvin's at 5.5. Masiway is at 7. Like, he's 7.5 hitting 8. Just a massive win so far for Ursa, and that early impact with Tiny, he's going to have to look for it elsewhere, as there's really nothing to be done here up against Ursa anymore.
They're going to rotate a third one in. Inkswell going to be there, but there's the Brambles maze again. Calvin going to try and avoid it, but runs straight into one and gets taken out by Game is Hard, and we do have a pause coming out. No one disconnecting, but there might just be some lag issues. And an unpause. Alright. Masiway will be chased down here. LY to join, but here comes Endless with a great arena round onto LY. He'll be alright for now. The EMP comes through, but Endless still going after the Spectre. Meanwhile, Masiway does get out with his life intact, and Game is Hard is the one to go down on the Dark Willow. LY able to survive through all the damage, but now Y-God coming in, missed the scream on LY, and now could be in huge trouble as he did commit the blink, and it looks like he will also go down. Tips coming out from LY onto Y-God. And that was a... that was a very risky blink to make. He does make, in fact, Endless also going to be chased down, but he will juke out the Tornado and be just fine.
Yeah, overall, that's a bit of a successful run for cute anime girls with her first haunt, but...
Game is hard. Cold Snap going to be out, but he'll be just fine. Curse Crown was there on LY, but he'll be able to walk out of there. And while that's happening, Masiway's been pushing out the top lane, but just trying to secure some farm here on that Ursa. Should also be able to just secure both those top bounty runes, considering he's just by himself.
Yeah, it's a lot of space bought out for the Ursa. You don't even get that pressure on the bot tier one here from cute anime girls. They just don't have the room. They don't have, well, they didn't have 6. They do have it on Magic now. They could force a fight around his first golem if they wanted to.
It's a dangerous time here for Bokebi. 4 heroes down bot. Terrorize going to be out from Game is Hard. He's going after the Invoker. Miguel is dropping so darn quick, but he will be able to run out of there. Now Kess with the double cogs coming out. Soulbind being committed with a double silence out. They can't use the spear in the arena. So LY, he's fighting back here. Miguel, meanwhile, does go down to Wygod, and now they will turn around onto the Quap. Silence going to be there in time, but he will have the blinker. And it won't even matter. He'll just walk out of there. And it looked somewhat decent for cute anime girls, but they do end up getting Miguel going down on the Invoker. And they get nothing for it.
Yeah, and this is still space for Bokebi. Like, they're still giving Masiway that free time up top. He takes the tier 1 for his troubles. They're applying pressure down mid. Calvin's forced to go for the defense. And they haven't been able to play around that for his golem yet. Magic just holds on to it. They're going to need to make use of that spell to really find an opening. That's their trump card here. Just force the fight out around it.
It just seems like they can't fight, though. That's the problem, because the Warlock drop's not going to do enough, right? Like, you're going to need either Miguel or Calvin to be there to have some burst damage. But you just haven't got that yet. In fact, I mean, Miguel's almost level 9, but Calvin, he's still yet to hit level 7. It's just a very, very sad kind of core tiny game to have here. It seems as though they're just going to try and play the catch-up game for this moment in time.
It's a lot of catching up, and the space in the map is really small. Like, you've got LY in the jungle, of course. You've got Miguel, who I guess with the urn can play around with his team.
Oh, great hook shot out from Kess straight onto Calvin, and they did have the cogs, but they don't get it off in time. Still, Brambles does hold him in, but now the golem has been dropped. Kez due to go down and does do so, and now Wygod, he does barely blink out in time, but LY, he wants to make the chase. With the dagger connecting, it will be enough. Wygod does drop, and it looked like a great hook shot in, but well, they just weren't ready for the big team fight that was coming. And with that, that'll be a T1 mid tower going down, unless Terrorize is going to be there with the Arena of Blood being dropped. It's a lot of damage already with the Bedlam in, and now the Arena and Toss getting LY out of there. They're all trying to disengage, but Calvin is set to go down, or maybe not. He does indeed actually go, but now they might get Masiway, who does get trapped up on the low ground, and with that Fatal Bonds, they should have enough. Endless, don't show yourself right now, sir. Martino can't get anything off like a stroke of fate, and he will miss anyway. Cass, just with the battery assault being very disruptive, still great Sonic Wave out from Wygod. Does at least get one. And a very messy engagement. But I'd say honestly that's kind of a win for the dire side, in the sense that it should have been a lot worse.
Yeah, it should have been a lot worse. They still don't come out with as much as they'd want. That mid-tier 1 is still standing. You've still got Masiway alive and healthy. In fact, he's going to finish up his Battle Fury off the back of that fight. And he maintains that massive lead over our spec. Now, LY is going for a faster sort of build-up. He's going for the Manta into the Diffusal. So there is emphasis on early fights here for our Spectre, which is important with this kind of lineup. With the Warlock, it's just that it feels like you're in a really sticky situation. Masiway is just going to be rushing his own S and Y, and once that's up, the Earth just gets really hard to lock in. And you've seen that multiple times, so that here it's just a massive power spike for him when he does pick that up. And with a Battle Fury at this time in the game, he can farm it really, really fast.
Yeah, just taking snacks for himself. Very, very easy game for the Earth at the moment. Meanwhile, top lane, Game is Hard, killing off Martino once again. And it's just so darn easy for him. Like, he just pops the Bedlam, gets the Brambles Maze off, and it's not really hard at all. Game is Hard. You're giving him a lot with the voice lines flying out from this Dark Willow. And if you are this dire side, you are just kind of waiting right now. Just putting all your faith in the Spectre, hoping that he'll just outscale them later on. Might make a bit of an engagement here onto Kess. Yes, Tornado, EMP, gonna connect on the clock with the Cold Snap, and Calvin should have some nice follow-up damage there on the Tiny, and does claim his first kill of the game on the Tiny. It'll be a nice feeling there for this dire side.
And that's a much needed kill for them as well for Calvin. Helps him to save up for that blink that, again, it's a key item for core Tinies, just to get that burst damage out. They do get a bit of a shove on that tier 1 bot, but that's in exchange for some pressure down their tier 1 mid, which they are forced to respond to once more.
That they are. It's going to be Matino, though, on the Grimstroke, basically defending this. Magic is going to be there on the Warlock, but there's not much she can do in the form of D push here in this mid lane. Like, they are really grouping up on the side of Bokebi in this mid lane, trying to catch somebody out. Game is hard. Get some wards out, but now has been spotted. They do get the silence, but she did go into the Shadow Realm first. LY now with the Inkswell could re-engage. They do go in with the Horn, and now a great golem drop out from Magic. That'll be Game is hard going down. Now the Soulbind also being committed. Won't really lead to much. They still do lose that mid tier 1 tower, but they do get at least a support pick-off for that trade.
It's not amazing for Cute Anime Girls. That was their 2 big ults, the Haunt and the Golem drop, being sacrificed for that. So I think if you're Bokebi, you're still fairly happy with that result, finding the objective, forcing out these ults. That means Bokebi's got a lot of safe time to farm, or they can go for their own objectives or start hunting for some more kills, as they do group up around Roche. And when you've got an Ursa this farmed early on, it's going to be a relatively quick one to take.
That it is. My god. Nice DD rune up for him on the Quap. It seems as though there's just no chance in hell of stopping this, not without the Haunt up. Masiway will take the Aegis. We'll just take over the Dire jungle. In fact, they're going to rush towards Matino. Matino should be just fine to get out of here, or maybe not. They spotted him out with that Observer Ward out from Game is Hard. They know he's in the tree line somewhere, but he's making a slow walk out of there. Hookshot. Going to be out from Kess. They'll just wait this one out and just go after that tier 2 tower. I just doubt there'll be any form of a defense here apart from that glyph, but a counter push in that mid lane. Miguel will be able to get the tier 1 mid tower, and now he'll try to make a run for it, but Wygon going to be right on top of that Invoker with the Arena there and the Sonic Wave to be committed.
Oof.
Kess even throwing a hookshot in the middle of all that, just in case. But Miguel does definitely end up going down. And now poor old Matino up at that top lane could be in a bit of danger. Brambles is going to block the way. He'll Inkswell just try and man fight up that Dark Willow, but now Calvin also coming in with the Avalanche Toss. And they do get the kill, and they do protect Matino.
It's a good set of pickups for Cute Anime Girls, but you don't want to push your luck here.
Magic going to get speared to a tree. Still Soulbind is going to be out. They should be able to get the Warlock, and they do. But now LY, he's TPing in and does eventually cancel it, which means Wygod, he'll jump back in after Calvin. Calvin will run out of there. But they still know Matino's there somewhere on the Grimstroke, and well, eventually he's just going to TP out. Sunstrike, Masiway. Close call. He'll be alright.
That was very close, on point. Not quite it for Masiway. He did have the Aegis. Would have been a shame to lose it, but still, Cute Anime Girls, they're finding themselves in a pretty big deficit. 14-9, 3-4k lead for Bokebi. They are buying LY the space to farm in the Spectre. He's got the Manta style up. He's working on that Diffusal next, and they do have the Haunt. They do have the Golem drop, so Cute Anime Girls can force a team fight out if they wanted to. They're probably just trying to buy out time and waiting for that Aegis to go away first, because 2 lives on Masiway, that's a lot to eat through, and you know he's almost at the point where he's going to have the full SNY. The Ursa just gets really hard to lock in at that point.
They're looking down a bot lane. Masiway, he still has the Aegis, but if they have enough heroes there, they can secure his life a second time. Eventually, it looks like they'll run the other way. Still Matino and Magic smoked up. Nobody else was really showing on the map here from Bokebi. Everyone just keeping their gap. Cass gonna try to go after that top bounty. Realizes something might be wrong. Does block the river, but now they have made the jump in onto that Willow. Game is hard. Does go down very quick. And unfortunately for him, he did have a sentry down for that Observer Ward. He can't quite get it, but Musiway probably can and will. And that'll pretty much be it. After the Dark Willow, in fact, never mind. They are going in and LY. Going after Y-God? No, he wants to go after the Mars. Never mind, he's out of there. So Haunt being committed, not leading to anything. Tornado, gonna just stop Musiway, who does walk away. And the rest of the Dire, just gonna continue farming up.
Yeah, they've wasted the Haunt, but they still hold on to the Golem. So there's still something to play with if they want to force a fight down the line. This also gives Bokebi space to finish up their own farm. Musiway does finish up the SNY. So our Ursa is pretty much a powerhouse now, going into the BKB next. And of course, even Y-God, he's doing enough work with just the Yules. He's rushing the BKB as well. So once you've got these BKBs up, you really do start to basically just completely rely on that chaotic offering from Magic to get control here from Cute Anime Girls. It looks like they might be looking for a smoke up now.
They need to make one soon. Musiway is just still farming way too well on this Ursa. Smoke, will it lead to anything? There's nobody in the Radiant side jungle at all. Closest target is going to be Endless in the mid lane, but he knows something's wrong. He'll just kind of turn his back on the McCalvin. He jumps in with his new Blink Dagger, trying to find a toss. Endless does get the arena off. And there are TPs coming in. Calvin, he's going to be in danger. Get Force-Staffed out of there, but the Cursed Crown going to lock him in. Still Golem to be dropped by Magic, but Y-God does jump in with the BKB now on Calvin. Is set to just go down. Tries for the Avalanche, but it does nothing, and Hookshot was also there by Kess. He's caught out Magic. The Warlock will die very, very easily. There's nobody's really there to be able to help them out. They just can't fight back.
Yeah, that was a massive, massive spell usage out from Cute Anime Girls as well. Now that they've dropped the Golem and fed it to the Ursa, that's just a lot of gold given away. That's a long cooldown once more. And now they don't have any tools to fight with. They rely on Miguel perhaps lining up his shots, but he's not at that level point where the Invoker is just insane. Does have the Orchid up on his Invoker though, but it's just not enough. They need to play with that Golem in the Hunt. And with both of those spells down, it's just back to the farming game. It's just that so far, Bokebi's been a lot more efficient in terms of farming out this map.
That they have. Networthly just kind of sticking around that 6k mark at the moment. Curious to think what Dota Plus thinks of this game, and they're actually not really going that far for Bokebi. It's only at 59% so far. That might just be the Spectre effect, of course, coming into play here, as the game just generally favors Spectre every time it's in the game. So Bokebi still got a long way to go, but they're looking good. Mind you, John, they weren't really able to make too much happen with the Aegis, but I guess it really doesn't matter because they could just go back for another one very soon.
Yeah, I mean, there are windows for Cute Anime Girls to play around the pit. It's just that, well, they're gonna have to wait and see if they get lucky with that timer. If it's a short one, then it could play against them. But they need to be really on point with when they use those spells. And oh, unfortunate for Y-God to get hit by that tornado, but they are smoked up here in Bokebi.
They are. Hookshot up on Kess. He's just looking for a target to go on. They might find Calvin, their favorite target of all. Rocket Flare going to give him the vision with the Arena of Blood to be dropped by Endless. And there will be no help coming in for poor old Calvin. He'll Avalanche, he'll just try to survive by himself, but he is definitely dead. Kess the one to take it on the Clockwork. It's a 17-10 now. I guess the only bright side for Cute Anime Girls is they have the other side of the map to farm now. So they can just continue playing this game of cat and mouse and just keep farming up. Eventually, they should be able to take over. However, game is hard now. Gonna catch up Miguel Z, and with the brambles there, it's gonna be too hard for him to get out of it, though he does pop the Deafening Blast and the Chaos Meteor, but it does nothing. The game continues. 25 minutes, Endless. He's going to find Magic now. He has the Spear available, but LY going to protect the Warlock. In fact, turn around, trying to go for this fight, but a great Spear out from Endless will hold down LY. Still Golem to be dropped, but Y-God will show himself on the quad. And now Masiwe is going to be there. They'll go back onto Magic. Soulbind committed with the toss out and the avalanche from Calvin. They do kill off Wygon. It's a great start here. And, well, Masiwe, he's not moving very fast at the moment, but Kez is there to help out if necessary and does get the cogs off. And that should allow the Ursa to walk out of there. But LY, he's looking for another target. He'll go after Kess with the Diffusal Blade. Inksuo also going to be there onto that Clockwork. Hookshot, great timing out from the clock. Kess still on the run, but now LY does pop the horn. He'll get one. They'll also kill off Game is Hard. Now the horn back into Masiwe, trying to go after the Ursa. He'll pop the Enrage and just run off. He'll be fine. But that is a very, very nice team fight out for this Dire side.
Yeah, it's a lot of patience from them to really choose their targets right, but that does pay off in the end. You manage to find some big kills, especially in that Quap. It's at the use of their spells, though. You would have liked to get a little bit more. Maybe really set your sights on that Ursa. But you'll take what you can get. That does kind of mitigate any more bleed over here. It's still a steady 4K lead for Bokebi. You are seeing LY really tie up that gap, though. He's at 13K net worth on the spec. There's not much of a lead from Masiwe. He's at 14.6k, so it's not a massive gap at this point in the game, and the Spectre does start to look a bit scary. And LY is just about to hit the level 18 mark. He's rushing the Abyssal Blade next. And once that's up and running, the control and the durability on the Spectre does hit a really big point.
There's the next Roshan going on right now, but a smoke is there from Bokebi. In fact, they jump in onto Miguel and that Invoker with the Terrorize to fly out, but Hookshot does not connect. It just won't matter. Magic now going to be chased down by Cass. Does commit the Shadow Amulet, but they should know she's around there somewhere, and they do. She will go down, as Masiwe does just go ahead and pick up the Aegis by himself. Well, they can go for the mid-tier 2 tower push if they so wish. They are still ahead.
Yeah, and this is what Bokebi can play around. They know the Haunt's down, they know the Golem's down. There's just no fighting in Cute Anime Girl's draft when these big spells are down. Just gonna be able to get a nice easy push, and the Cute Anime Girls can't really defend. Now Calvin did get a good creep cut that could delay that progression on the push, but
it does with the glyph. Just barely though. I mean, the tier 2 tower is on its last legs, but it'll buy them more time, that's for sure. It's kind of like you said, right? Like, once the Abyssal Blade's there for LY, things become a hell of a lot different here for this Dire side. But until then, they are kind of just trapped in the same predicament. Bokebi just going to continue forcing in towers. Do go for the top tier 2 tower now. There will be absolutely zero defense coming out. They will try to trade, however, Calvin. He's pushing in that bot tier 2, but at least gets a glyph forced out here from Bokebi and now can just try to finish it off. But this TP's coming in. They know he waited around. They go for the hook shot onto Calvin with the Cogs pushback, and Calvin should not be able to blink out of this one. He does get the Yules off, and now the Golem was dropped by Magic, but the Spear does still connect on the Tiny. And with the Sonic Wave, they burst him down, and now Wygon straight after Magic. The TP not going to help her out. And he can just keep going for more. He still has that double damage active. They have found Matino. Rocket Flare will scout him. He tries for the TP play, but it will not be enough. Be another kill out for Masiwe. They're just looking way too good at the moment.
Yeah, it's that staggered spell use from Cute Anime Girls. You know, they're not the ones initiating, they're counter-initiating in, and it doesn't really shine when they're forced to do that. They need to be the ones being aggressive. They need to get their spells on vulnerable targets first. Because every single time they play into Bokebi just comes out on top. The control they've got, the issues they've had are still there, and again, they're finding themselves down to spells. Bokebi, they still hold on to the Aegis. They can go back to pushing and finding more objectives on the map.
There goes that mid-tier 2 tower. Wygod picking up an Orchid straight afterwards, and there's only really 2 outer towers left here for the Dire side. That is both the bottom towers. You see Masiwe and the rest of his team kind of grouping up down to the bot lane, where Miguel does miss out on the bounty. Does manage to make a run for it. It'll be just fine. Still Kess does have a dust on him, but of course is not within range. I mean, the more time they buy though, and I know I keep saying this, but LY is getting bigger and bigger here on the Spectre. Do you think they actually have the control for the Spectre once she gets to that point where it's just, you know, she's just way too farmed up?
Yeah, I reckon
Hold that
so.
thought. Kess in trouble. On the clock. Avalanche Toss going to be there. He'll make a 4-star out. He does not have enough mana for Hook Shot, or no, he does now, but he's been silenced up. Can they get him down in time? They can. Nice pick off there for the side of Cute Anime Girls.
Yeah, it's a solid one to find. It's not the target they were going for first. Masiwai is still hanging around though. Could maybe catch him out, or Wycon.
Calvin does get the quap, but just doesn't have enough damage with the Avalanche Toss. Didn't have enough help around him at the time to really finish off that quap kill.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
But you were saying, John, about the Spectre.
Oh, yeah.
You still think they have the control after he's 6 slotted?
Yeah, definitely. It's an Ursa. You know, no matter the durability on that spec, you're going to be able to stack up your Furious Wipes anyway. You're going to have the Abyssal on Masiway as well. So he's going to have the control and mobility to handle that spec. They keep going. They smoked up into this aggression from Cute Anime Girls.
My god. Just going to keep blinking forward. He's not afraid of anything right now. Of course, he is still holding BKB Cheese, and Hook Shot barely off target by Kess. They actually all going to get away, Miguel. Just stalking at the moment, giving vision, but no, they found one. It is going to be Magic. She does go down. But if that's all they lose, it's not really too big of a loss here for Cute Anime Girls. It's a support Warlock going down. Bokebi still just going to commit to that bottom tier 1 tower. They do manage to take it before the Aegis does expire. Miguel will scout out. The Aegis has indeed gone. It's not really like they can do much about that. However, Tornado, it's going to be there on Kess, but he'll be just fine to walk out of there.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Top lane LY does make a run for it. He was going to be chased down here by Y-God and Endless. In fact, he still is. Rocket Flare does come out, and the pings are exactly on the Spectre's location. He'll be just fine. He has a TP and Spectral Dagger. He'll be okay to get out of there. Good lane. Fuels. Y-God, Hook doesn't land from Kess, and that might be enough to disengage, but Calvin does jump in with the Avalanche Toss. Still Cheese is going to be eaten there by the Quap, and now Miguel barely getting away with his life intact, but Calvin cannot. He does go down. A great Arena of Blood out from Endless now, getting 2 more. And LY, he's been left alone. He needs to make a run for it, but Y-God is on the case. Mantle to be popped, LY, still trying to juke them out, but there is no chance in hell. He does go down. Game is hard. It does at least die to Magic, but they have fanned out Miguel. Dust is going to be there from Kess, and that should be just enough for Miguel to go down. And that'll be a full team wipe. Bokebi once again cleaning him up. There's just nothing they could do about it.
No, I mean, Y-God did manage to get the cheese off in time. That second life just gave him all the space in the world to get the follow-up damage. And they're just not finding the targets they'd want to start these fights off with, Cute Anime Girls. They're just not finding the burst. Calvin's missed that mark on the Tiny. You just can't delete a hero anymore, force a 4v5. It just doesn't happen. And again, you don't have Golem, you don't have Han. There's nothing to stop this high ground push beyond Miguel just landing all the big spells he can.
Oh, Masi just goes in with the Abyssal Blade now, straight onto Magic, and Magic, she cannot sustain that much damage, but Soulbind is going to be there. The silence is out. Tier 3 gone, but Calvin, he's going to jump in with the Ink Swirl now. Avalanche Toss out onto Y-God, but it's not enough in Calvin. He may have gone too far, and he does go down. And Y-God gives him the tip. That'll be the mid-racks going down here for the side of Bokebi.
Yeah, they only take the melee, but they're more than happy with the results. They do back off in time. They don't even have an Aegis on their hands anyway.
They know, they saw him run past, and game is hard. He does jump in with the Brambles, trying to go after LY. Like they'll turn back around now. Arena is going to be out around Miguel, but he does have his BKB up this time around with the Inkswell coming in, but it's not going to be enough, or maybe it is. Kess, he gets a hook shot in at the last second, and he does secure the Invoker kill. But Masiway does Abyssal Magic again. Mimicape will save her this time. That'll be it for Bokebi, I believe. Unless Masiway might need some help here. LY trying to go in on the Ursa. They are indeed committing here, but they turn back around, and that spear again onto Calvin. That'll be him gone. LY will be safe, but Bettino will not be. He does also die on the Grimstroke. Magic and LY just staying away from the side of Bokebi at the moment.
Dire's middle barracks.
They're just shredding them, John. It's not even close anymore, these team fights.
No, it really isn't. And cute anime girls are forced to try to fight without their ults. There's just nothing to be done. Like it's all on Miguel's now, on the Invoker to land his combinations, but he doesn't have the axe to really widen that range on his spells. It's just tricky when you put all your eggs in one basket. Maybe if you jump in with Calvin and actually toss someone back and isolate them, that is one way to find that one key pickoff, because they just can't find the numbers advantage. They just don't have the burst anymore, and with 19k lead now, Bokebi, they've set themselves up in a really good spot. And that Roshan is up and running as well, and they've got control on the map to just take this next Rosh and go back to the high ground. There's an Ag's Blessing on Rosh as well.
Jeez, it's just gonna make it so much harder.
Oh yeah. Whew, just way too much. Like imagine that on Masiway. He's gonna have Enrage every single time he wants it, or even just tossing it to your Quap for the cooldown on Sonic Wave. Just way too much to play into, and cute anime girls can't afford to give that out. They are
Smoke
smoked
in.
up.
Kess gonna try and get out of there, but Calvin does have the Avalanche toss combination. The clock's still making a run, and now the Arena was also dropped by Endless, but he'll get out of there. Matino does go down a game is hard, but he will also drop on the Dark Willow. Now Magic does get the Golem, but it's not gonna matter. She does go down. Kess, meanwhile, being chased down by LY, but Masiway just doing way too much damage. Sonic Wave does fly through. LY trying to get out, but he cannot. He does go down to the Spectre, and now Calvin also trapped up on the Tiny. These Brambles mazes have been the bane of his existence this game. And they have found another in the form of Miguel Z. And they have buybacks. It is just such a tough game. And they are going to force those buybacks. They go after the tier 4 towers. LY does commit. He needs some help though. He can't do it by himself. That'll be enough. Bokebi, they're out of there. Probably back to the Roshan pit.
Yeah, they could just take it for free. They know there's no Golem. They know there's no Haunt. They've already forced one big buyback out.
Oh, they're waiting.
Cute. Ooh.
They're waiting on the high ground. Got a hook shot out from Kez. Buyback from Calvin. Hook shot straight in. They're going to catch out Matino, and that'll be... will be a dieback on the Grimstroke, and now Arena is also going to catch out LY. Endless has got a huge target there. And they just can't get there in time to help him out. He just dies. That's a dieback on LY, and BKB popped by Endless. Doesn't really matter. Masiway, he does end up getting Magic, and now Miguel, also going to be caught out on the Invoker, does go down. And that should be GG.
It's a tricky one to bounce back from. They should just force it to your forest. Yeah, they're just going to rush it. And, I mean, they could try to hold out, but they do cut the wave. So Calvin's doing the right thing.
He's doing the right thing indeed. They are going to just follow him down. Wygod going to try and punish him for this. Endless hit the God's Rebuke, but Wygod is still on the chase. Calvin, a man on the run, does get spotted out now by Wygod. Let's get Yuled up. He will eventually die, I believe. Endless, yeah, he'll land the spear. They'll give him the tips as they're doing it. And on the brighter side, I don't believe they'll have enough time for the tier 4s anymore. But they still get an Aegis and Ag's Blessing, as well as a cheese. And Wygod does take the Ag's Blessing.
Oh yeah, and you've got all the presence now on this Quap. Does have the level 25 talent as well. I mean, they've been so far ahead, we haven't needed to point out these talent spikes, but they're at all the spikes they'd want in all of these heroes, and you're not even close on that for the side of the anime girls.
Tino, he'll be alright. But how do you defend these tier 4s now? You've got to buy at least 10 seconds for Miguel to be up, and you need 20 for LY. It's a very hard defense to ask for. They'll have Miguel. Fuels up on the Dark Willow, but no, this game's over. The Ancient is so darn low. Arena's to be committed. They just jump in after Magic. They get the Warlock, and Miguel, he is very, very low right now. Trying to make a run for an LY. Does haunt up. They want to go for the last team fight, but it will not matter. Masiwe does just commit to the Ancient. Objective wins games. And that'll be the first game. Going to Bokebi.
Yeah, spectacular performance from Bokebi. There were moments where cute anime girls looked good. You know, it felt like they were playing around her ults quite nicely for a while, but it was just too much. They gave Masiwe all the space in the world to grow big. I mean, he was 12-0 on the Ursa, and even Endless was 8-0 on the Mars. Just spectacular performance from them, cute anime girls. I think they've got to shake up their draft. This was really slow, and Calvin was off to a really rough start in the Tiny. They're going to need to find a way to get that off lane running for them. Because if you give Masiwe a free lane, this is what happens.
It is very, very true. Still, it is MLP Dota and John X Fire. We'll be back very, very soon for the second game of this best of 2 series between cute anime girls and Bokebi. See you then. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here for our second game of this best of 2 series between Cute Anime Girls and Bokebi. It is MLP Dota and John X5. John, welcome back, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing great. You know, that first game was quite the showing from Bokebi. Cute Anime Girls, they went with something more team fight oriented. They tried to bring that Invoker out. Didn't quite work out the way they wanted to, but I think with this shake-up in their opening, there's a lot more chances for them. They start with a Doom. If that is going to be on the offlane for Calvin, it's a lot more stable of an offlaner. You know, you could still find farm if you fall behind rather easily. You've got huge power spikes when you hit 6, and how you itemize, you're always going to be relevant with your ult. So there's a lot more going on there for Cute Anime Girls to start with, and that's great because we saw it in game 1, but Calvin just could not contribute as much as you'd want on the core Tiny. So this Doom should help them out a little bit more in this game.
It definitely was a very, very rough game for Cute Anime Girls, but they're off to a good start here with this Doom. Of course, Bokebi, they do get themselves a Phoenix, which is always very, very nice. Anime Girls, they will go ahead and second pick up the Grimstroke again, so I don't think the Grimstroke was really the problem in that game 1, being played by Matino. Of course, he did get caught out a few times, but it's a Grimstroke, right? You're kind of susceptible to just dying if your team falls too far behind. Bokebi, just go for the Mars. You've got Phoenix Mars now. It's a very nice combination to have.
It's more than nice. It's really annoying. Yeah, of a combination. It's just inside the arena, you've got Bulwark. Outside the arena, you just can't hit the damn egg. So Bokebi's tied themselves up great. I think Cute Anime Girls with the double Doom potential are looking really good though. They've just got to land it. And it's not the hardest combo to land, but you will want to make use of every single time it's up. Expect Cute Anime Girls to try to go for a smoke play, to try to maximize that huge spike, that big combination they've got with this. And they can play around that a lot easier. Because in game 1, they had the Haunt Chaotic Offering to play around. That one's just so much harder. You need all of these opponents to be in the right spot, be clumped up. With the Doom Grimstroke, it's a lot more straightforward. So they're giving themselves some way to find some pacing in this game. And Bokebi is going to have to respect that because it really is quite powerful if you manage to get that combo off.
It is tough to go up against for sure. We'll have to wait out a few more bans before we get to see where these drafts are headed, as these openings are pretty standard stuff, right? Like, these combinations have been run for a while now, and while they do dip in and out of popularity, they've always just been very, very good. Like, it's always been a very stable opening with these two duos. Still, there's the Dark Willow being respect banned out by Cute Anime Girls, and I can't quite blame them for that, John.
Oh, yeah.
So, Game is Hard was having a great old game on that Dark Willow. I would not want to play against it either. So they do get rid of it. I dare say he was pretty much the sole reason why Calvin had such a bad game in that offlane. Like, Masiway was always there, you know, helping get the kills for sure, but this Dark Willow was always on point with the Brambles, always had the Cursed Crown out, just continuously zoning out the offlane and just giving the Ursa a free game.
Yeah, it was really hard to face off against that. And the positioning of his Brambles were just on point every single time. It was always on the choke points where Calvin was trying to play. So they just don't want to deal with it, which is fair, but that does leave a lot more on the line for Bokebi. They could go for a lot more standard supports here. You are looking for perhaps a little bit more lockdown beyond just your Morris Spear. They could easily find that with, say, a Shadow Demon to set up for themselves if they wanted to, the Bane if they wanted to. It really does leave a lot more open with the Dark Willow ban. I mean, there's a reason why that hero's kind of tapered out of meta. I don't think Bokebi minds too much that it's banned out at all.
No, definitely not. It's one of those things, right? When you've got a level 25 Dark Willow player that can make your life a living hell in the game if you're not banning it out. Still, there's the Void being removed now by Cute Anime Girls, and Bokebi, they have one final ban left to make. They did get rid of the Morphling first. Again, just focusing on the position 1 pickups here for LY. We also saw the Jug being removed, as well as the Magnus for that matter. Did they just ban out another position 1? Like, what else do you
Yeah.
have really left, really? Like, do you want to get rid of the Spectre? Do you want to just get rid of the AM? They
I'd say,
they may feel confident to go up against the Spectre in Game 2, considering how easily they dealt with it in Game 1.
yeah, that's fair because again, it's a hard one to play around with the timings on Hunt. They just couldn't maximize that as much as they'd want to. I think it's fine to let the Spectre slide through. I think maybe consider something like the Terrorblade band out. I think it's really potent. You do have some decent magic damage here from Bokebi. Perhaps illusion heroes as well, like say PL could be an issue if you don't manage to tool yourself to take care of it. I think those are the big ones for the most part that you tend to see cause issues in the draft if you're not careful. And we have seen that in different games where the TB and the PL can overtake something like the Mars given enough time. So that is something Bokebi could consider as well.
Dire team pick.
They end up getting rid of the Ember. Pretty much a very similar thing to what happened last game as well, if I'm correct, right? They ended up just final banning out the Ember and just going into that second pick phase where Bokebi, they've used a hell of a lot of reserve time in that final ban out. We've only got about 21 seconds left. So have a bit more of a think about this third pickup now. Do you want to just secure your other support here? If you are Bokebi, do you prioritize the core? They do not. They go for the Rubik pickup. I guess it's going to be quite nice into the Grimstroke and the Doom.
Yeah, I like seeing this one come out. It's really potent nowadays, and you've got a lot of great spells to steal here as well. You have the off chance of it being a core Rubik down mid if they wanted to do that from Bokebi. It's always possible.
You keep bringing that up, that core Rubik. You really want to see it.
Because it's really, really good. It takes a lot of EXP, but I'm telling you, you hit that 15, you hit that level 20 mark, it is dumb. It is truly dumb to watch, and I love it. But, you don't tend to see it. It's a possibility, though. It leaves it open for Bokebi.
Yeah.
Cute anime girls, they go into the clockwork, and with this kind of lineup, it's all right. You've still got the combination with a Grimstroke, Inkswell into a hookshot. A lot of control can come out there. And they do give themselves a lot more ways of opening up these fights with their lineup. So there is better aggression coming out from cute anime girls in this case. Still giving a lot of value to the Rubik. I think just a lot of really good spells from the clock, from Grimstroke into Doom. So they've got to be cautious about what spells to use out here as Bokebi. Just getting that Ricky as well. So it's playing really nicely into that Mars. That arena is going to be deadly.
Definitely is. Of course, it is going to be somewhat problematic if you do get caught out by the Doom, but apart from that, you're looking pretty happy as this position 1 Ricky.
5 seconds remaining.
Could even be a mid Ricky for all we know. Like they haven't really sorted that out yet. Cute anime girls now to make their 4th pickup, and they know what they're up against. What do you want to go for here if you're cute anime girls? Like you've got another draft where they could kind of just run at you after the 10-minute mark. They've got Green Team Fight. They've really just got everything here with this draft from Bokebi. Cute anime girls, you've probably got to go for that position 1 pickup again right now. It's just a matter of what you take. Probably not the greatest Spectre game if you were gonna go back to that.
No, definitely not. It's way too easy to control. I think when you've already got the Doom with a cooldown as well, you'd probably want something that can be a bit more active or at least independent of a cooldown. I think illusions should be fine here. Like something like the PL is still pretty decent. If you wanted to, you don't have the best control for that from Bokebi. You've got the AoE from Phoenix. It's not amazing. It's something the PL can really counteract, and even a Ricky's not going to enjoy that if cute anime girls wanted to. So that's in the pool. They wanted to play with a PL.
Radiant team ban.
No, they'll go after the Lifestealer. Okay. It's been one of those position 1s that hasn't been amazing in the pro meta, but it's you go back to it if you feel like you can, and I guess it's just one of those games where they do feel like the inbuilt rage on the Lifestealer is going to be very effective. It's kind of hard to kill off thanks to Infest.
5 seconds remaining.
I don't know. How do you feel about it overall, though?
You've got natural vehicle in the clock. You've got the Mars to eat through, at least. I think that's the main thing that really works out here, is that you've got the Mars and Phoenix that you can chew up. You can rage through the slow on the attacks, so you can focus on that Phoenix Egg if it becomes an issue. It's pretty good. Like, there's no control here to go through. That spell immunity, that's something cute anime girls can maximize quite well. And again, it leaves themselves open for a lot more aggression. I think this aggression from this lineup is going to be a lot more effective than game one. Whether or not it's going to do to work against Bokebi with how they played, though, is a different question. But I think this draft is an improvement at the least. You can expect more useful aggression coming out from LY and the Life Stealer. The hero really just comes online in a snap. It's not in meta, but it can still do work in the right circumstances. You're gonna have to play around with that clock bomb to really maximize that.
Ooh, I love the Slaughter last pick, though. That should mean a mid-doom that we're seeing here from cute anime girls, but Bokebi, they will respond straight away with a Medusa pickup. That's not like a Medusa with, you know, avenge support, but it's still a Medusa. As you can see, there's not really much gap close on the side of cute anime girls. Like, you've got the clockwork. But after that, it's like, how do you kill her off?
Yeah, it's a tricky one to melt Y God. I think they've got a lot here working for Bokebi, so you're forced now in these situations to either turn around and try to focus down to Phoenix Egg, or go for the Medusa. But if Stone Gaze is up, it's just really hard to make that choice. In that sense, this combination works out really well in team fights for Bokebi. Cute anime girls, they have to be careful and they have to be on point with how they, choose a target. They have to be all in together to find that burst. Otherwise, these guys can just run away, and they have to play really fast. Bokebi has such great scaling with the Dusa and even the Ricky. And that cute anime girls, there's a bit of a timer on their heads. They're going to need to really try to play this game fast and close it out before the Medusa can become a major threat in this round.
See how this one runs out. Of course, you definitely just want to try and at least get a draw if you're cute anime girls right now. But Bokebi, if they could just have a repeat performance of game one, they are looking pretty. It's hard to know how to feel about the Medusa pick, right? Like, it's one of those heroes where it's either it works or it doesn't. It looks great for it. I mean, in my opinion, it looks decent. Yeah, that's the problem though, right? It is a very slow kind of hero to build up.
Yeah, but I think when you've got the Phoenix and the Mars to play with the team fight potential of it, it's actually pretty scary. You just have to ensure that you're not forced to Stone Gaze defensively. That's when it falls apart, because it's really easy to just focus on that one hero. If you've got Phoenix to help you distract, if you've got the Mars to help protect you, then it's a very different story, and I think that's what Bokebi has to play around. They actually do have to play as 4, or at least, always back Y God up and get ready to commit those TPs to keep their Medusa safe. You can't afford to have this hero lagging behind too hard.
That you can't. They really did just snap pick that Medusa at the end as well. Like, they were very, very confident with the pick. Slaughter was very nice into Ricky, though, I've got to say. Like, this should not be the easiest game in the world for Masiway. I mean, the laning phase should be difficult enough up against Slaughter, but of course, once you've hit that level 6 mark and you have Corrosive Haze up, it can get that much easier to just search down this, find this Ricky and just take him out. And it is going to be important for Masiway, right? To have a good early game here on this Ricky.
Yeah, it's that initial farm, because he will have to buy the space out for the Dusa, along with the rest of his team. It's almost like 4 Protect 1 on the Dusa, in this case. The Ricky does have to get that good start. I think the Slaughter's a weird one. His Corrosive Haze, it's still amazing against the Ricky. It's just that the way you have, how close you have to get to cast that spell is rather annoying. It's not as easy to just keep spamming it out from afar. So you can have some issues of spacing there. And the Ricky he can't dodge the haze, but he can dodge the initiation. You know, you can dodge out with the tricks if you play fast enough. So it can be a bit dicey for Calvin in terms of completely locking that Riki down. Still a very slippery hero, but the haze does simplify it just a bit more. And on top of that, I mean, you've already got the clock as a lifestealer bomb, but you've also got the slaughter now once that blink is up. And you can see Calvin this game, Mike. He is queuing up a Midas. So he wants that steady farm in this hero regardless of how this lane goes out.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Speaking of which, John, they did point out that there's no playground during the pause, which is quite weird, because I swear we saw it in the last series,
Yeah.
did we not?
Yeah, we did. Now, that's a strange one. But I quite frankly didn't notice because I always close it immediately. I didn't even notice it was gone.
I mean, neither did I until somebody said it in all chat, and I was like, oh, they're not wrong. It is gone.
How do you do that?
They
Feels
do.
a bit... Like, how do you pause without having it pop up? I guess it's a beta game. What am I
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah, I mean, they could have actually just removed it somehow. Still, LY gonna find Endless. Rather, Endless finds him. They're gonna make the jump onto Magic. They do have the God's Rebuke available. Magic being slowed up, and they should have enough damage here. She does go down to Endless, and now LY will just be forced to run away. It's a very similar situation at level 1 on the lifestealer. He just can't do anything to help.
No. He definitely can't. And he actually opted to immediately go for the Feast 1, which is fine for laning, but you tend to pocket that skill just to see how the runes go out. And with that, Bokebi get that first blood. That sets Endless up for a great time, and Kess as well. And it's not going to be an easy time. You know, when you spam out that Fade Bolt, LY is just not going to have that easiest of times to get the last hits going. Magic's got her work cut out for her. Gonna have to be on point with landing those Stroke of Fates. Bokebi, how do you bully out Mars at this early on? Like, you need levels on the Lifestealer to really start to pump it into the Mars. But by the time you get those levels, the Mars will also have some points into the Bulwark. So it's a tricky one down bot. Gonna have to be really cautious about that. Of course, can expect Kess as well, with enough levels to make that rotation mid to help out Y God up against Miguel. Now, this mid lane matchup between the Medusa and the Doom can be easier for Miguel. Like, he's got better regeneration, he's got a hefty right click if he can close that gap, but you have to be cautious about the Mystic Snake bouncing around, and you don't quite have the best armor, but I guess Miguel does offset that, but then Ring of Protection start just to ensure he's not copying too much from Medusa here.
Yeah. I mean, My God should be just fine as well on the Medusa. Like, although the Doom does hit hard, you're still up against a Medusa. She's still going to punish you every time you make the run in. And unless Miguel does have some help to try and deal with this Medusa in the mid lane, My God should just have a free time. But only time will tell. We'll see as the game drags on. Still, Calvin top lane is going to be there up against Masiwe. We do have Game is Hard and Matino there, and speaking of Matino, he does now Battery Assault. Game is Hard on the Phoenix. It'll be just fine. In fact, Icarus dive in, doesn't really connect on anyone as the Battery Assault did cancel the dive. Everyone will be just fine. So bot lane, LY, he was ink swallowed up, but it looks like he was speared to a tree anyway, so he couldn't really chase them down. Maybe just having some static lanes for now, right? You've just got to wait a few more levels out before you can really see any kind of kill opportunities happening.
Yeah, I think this is a lot more favorable for Bokebi. You're seeing Masiwe get a little bit more from his lane, 10-0, compared to our Lifestealer at 7-2, and they're actually dropping Matino really low.
Matino, he does go down. Endless also dying to LY, but LY trying to make a run, does salve up and does barely survive, but Kess trying to chase, just can't get there. LY barely surviving. They did get the Mars kill. It's going to be a nice feeling out for the side of Cute Anime Girls.
Yeah, they do manage to at least offset that loss. Top just a bit for the cleanup down there, so LY's going to be pretty chuffed. He's at level 3 in the Lifestealer, so he's got a little bit more presence in the lane. Does opt for more levels in the Feast. And they'd be able to just sustain himself here. Of course, you still have to be cautious about your spacing as
He'll be alright. He'll dive away, but they are going to just continue chasing him down. Salves up. Calvin now could be in a bit of danger. They're trying to make the chase, but he does get a double stun off. More fire spirits to fly out here from Game is Hard, but eventually he does die still. They might get the trade. Calvin is in danger, and he does end up going down to Mussy Way. I'd say that's not really well worth it for the Slider to die like that for a Phoenix kill. Meanwhile, bot lane, LY and Magic being chased down. LY will defend the support Grimstroke and Endless. Still has a spear, but won't bother wasting the mana. We'll just hold out. I'll make it a 2-3 at the 4-minute mark.
It's a bit unfortunate for Bokebi. Kez did get stunned by that Centaur creep. There was a bit of a clump up. Still, it's a better start for Bokebi. Cute anime girls are at least finding the trades, but when your support's forced to walk back to base and then forced to TP back in, it's not the best spots to be in. LY is still finding some decent farm, 13-2. It still doesn't measure up to Mussy Way up top, so it's still a slightly slower start for a lifestealer than you'd want, but it is an improvement from game 1. They are at least finding their own aggression in these lanes. Just have to be really cautious about your spacing, as there's still the potency there from Bokebi.
Trying to fight over these neutral camps, so Y does at least get one big creep for himself, and now the Inkswell is there out onto Kess, so Kess could be in big danger, but Endless getting a nice spear off. Doesn't really lash into a tree, but it won't matter. Does end up protecting that Rubik. But now Endless actually going to be in massive danger. LY just doesn't stop hitting him. Endless does try to God's Rebuke, but does eventually die, and now Kess needs to make a run for it. He'll be just fine. He'll go for the bounty runes. In fact, he will deny one away from Magic on the Grimstroke. The LY, he does succeed in at least getting another kill on that Mars.
Yeah, he's off to a better start in the bot lane. You can see him really just trying to get that farm into the phase boots, rushing the MKB next to sustain that right click elbow up top.
Martino, he will go down. And that's one thing you don't want, right? You don't really want this Ricky finding too many kills either. Especially considering Masiwe is currently having a better time in terms of farming on that Ricky, and that was his second kill of the game so far.
It is definitely much more worthwhile for Bokebi in this kind of start. I mean, we talked about it from the draft, but the Ricky's going to be the hero to run around forcing these plays. It's not like Wygod's been slowed down by Miguel's as well. Like, they're at the 6 mark, but Wygod's just sustaining himself with a Mystic Snake. He's got control on runes as well, and it's risky. Like, at this point, if you don't shut down the jungle for Wygod, he's going to be able to dip in and find himself some substantial amount of flash farm at this point.
Wygod just looks like he's having the freest game of his life at the moment. Miguel's just... he's doing great in terms of farm himself on the Doom. And that might be the idea, is just trade farm at the moment. Just get those levels up, get that farm up, and deal with the Medusa later. Top lane, there is going to be a jump. Patino going to be in big danger here on the clock, but the Cog's pushback going to make it harder for Masiwe. He does eventually get there and does duke out the Inkswell. Calvin, however, will continue the chase with this Corrosive Haze, but it wears off. Sentry will replace Calvin, gets another Corrosive Haze off, but Masiwe will be fine to just get out of there. They just can't kill the Ricky. If this Ricky had more mana right now, he might just go back in for the slaughter.
Yeah, it's a really tricky spot for cute anime girls. They've got to sustain a tri lane up top now, just to ensure that Calvin has the start he wants. Now, he does finish up his Midas, if I saw that right, so he's gonna have at least a steady time in getting some farm going, but it's really not the kind of start you want to be giving, right? Like, our Ricky's off to a fantastic start. He's just behind Wygod's farm on the Medusa. They've got to make this tri lane work out and start finding some kills to slow that Ricky down.
Oh, endless bot lane. Still in a bit of danger, LY. Eventually just have to let him go, but we'll start harassing out that tier 1 tower. Meanwhile, top, a lot of heroes grouping up. They just currently have these supports fighting over wards at the moment, and Magic eventually have to back, but now Matino going to show himself in the clockwork. They are just quite set to try and force this tier 1 tower up to the top lane in. The only person there to defend is Game is Hard. Corrosive Haze will come out. He does still have the Icarus dive if he needs it. Martino ready to cut him off on the clock, and they do get the stun off. And now with that battery assault, Game is Hard does go down. He just seemed to wait a bit too long to go for the Icarus dive.
Again, with that commitment, they do manage to clear out the top lane. They should be able to find a fast take on that tier 1. Gives Calvin the space to continue to apply pressure, and Masiwe.
Yeah, he's in danger. They got the Corrosive Haze off, but he will just use Tricks to the Trade. Still stunned, does not connect. Masi trying to just juke them out. Does blink away. And now Game is Hard. Will rotate in on the Phoenix. And there's more help behind the Riki. They want to re-engage back onto Calvin. Doesn't really have much mana left. They weren't able to stop him, however. Now the Inkswell going to come out on LY. But he's not going to be able to close the gap. They still look to go back in. You don't have that level 6 on the Mars yet. So it's a bit hard to trap anyone up. But Calvin does get Icarus dive, and now LY pops the Rage. However, that Magic Grimstroke is going to go down. Still Masiwe does get doomed up, trying to make a run for it. Now Y-God shows up on the Medusa and just zones them out. He doesn't even have Stone Gaze leveled up yet. But just the presence of Y-God himself does scare them off enough. And Miguel actually gets speared to a tree, rather a tower. Does go down. Calvin trying to make a run, but he's been lifted up in the Tricks of the Trade and does also die. Just one by one, cute anime girls end up going down.
Right, that's a massive win for Bokebi. I mean, there is space up top. They have given LY the space to farm up and clear that tier 1. But Y-God with the early rotation, they force out the first Doom. It doesn't do anything. You know, Masiwe is still alive. They're going to find tier 1 in exchange. Overall, Bokebi is going to be a lot happier with his trade. Now, cute anime girls do maintain a slight net worth lead, but that is on Miguel, and that's because he's a Doom. And it's him with the Midas and the Devour, so they're just getting that steady farm. But this is not the point where you want to be in, cute anime girls, and they've not been able to make any moves in the jungle, which means that Y-God can just keep farming up himself.
That he can. He's going after that Mantis Fowl up next in the Medusa. It's not going to take too long for him. Cute anime girls just trusting that their own farm is going decently enough. Masiwe will get pinged out by LY, but he doesn't really have much help around to try and take down this Riki. So Masi should be just fine to keep freely farming up himself. Speaking of quick timings, John, he's going to have a relatively quick Diffusal Blade coming out soon if they aren't able to do something about this Riki. I mean, he's 5-0-2. But I just don't see any smokes coming out anytime soon from cute anime girls. However, I do see one from Bokebi. They're just going to smoke through to that mid lane, and they're going to find an easy Grimstroke kill for themselves, it seems. Icarus dive in with the Egg to be committed, and now an Arena as well. It's just a very easy kill. Perhaps a bit overboard with the Egg and Arena, but I guess you just take what you can get and run out of there. Hook shot, gonna be out, does catch the Phoenix. Game is hard, probably will just be dead. However, his team is there to back him up. A nice Cogs push back, and Doom will actually be committed on the Rubik, but they can't kill off anyone. Y-God, he does get the Stone Gaze off, and that'll be it.
Oh man.
They just can't defend.
No, that every time they commit the Doom, it reminds me of Game 1 when they toss out the Chaotic Offering. If you don't find anything, it's just a tricky spot, and Masiwe is just spotting all of them at the back.
Yeah, scouts him out. Endless may get caught here. Calvin trying to run in with the Inkswell. However, there's that Riki coming in with the smoke screen and now just blinking all over the place. Infest will be committed. They still just try and fight back with a soul bind. Stolen by Kess, turning it back around, and it's just looking bad for the side of cute anime girls. There's now Miguel gonna get caught out. Calvin's very low on the Slaughter. He also goes down, and it's not over yet. Kess in a bit of danger here from LY, does end up going down, but they do kill off Magic in return, and Masiwe, he's not done. He wants more, and it's going to be LY. Eventually, they do let the lifestealer walk out of there. LY turning back around to try and defend this T1 mid tower, but now a hook shot going to come out. They did catch Game is hard, so Martino does get a nice solo pick off, but it may cost him his life in return. Tricks to the Trade will be enough. Marcy picking up his 7th kill of this game. On the brighter side of things, that T1 tower is still, well, it was still standing. There was a drum pop by Cute Anime Girls. They want to run back in after YGod. They won't really be able to close the gap, however. And I said that T1 tower is standing, John, but it's only on 104 HP. They just haven't really chosen to deny it yet.
Yeah,
just leave it for now.
It's a tough spot. You know, that tower is just so crucial for Cute Anime Girls to maintain control. And Bokebi, I mean, these fights, they've been forcing fights without items. Like, we're still going to see the defusal coming out on Masi, and he's already 7-0. You know, it's at 14 minutes in, and our Ricky's already at the point where he's insane. Why God? He's going to have his man to style already because of all these fights. He's got the gold for it very soon. And that just makes our Medusa even more of a powerhouse. There's just no control, or not enough control and damage to take care of both of these heroes. And their spells are back up. They've got the egg again. They've got the arena again. They can keep forcing fights.
They want that tier 1 mid tower first. Hook shot, not actually going to land. Game is hard. Is able to Icarus dive out, and it's that damn staircase again, John. Always ruining the angle of the hook shot.
Dire's
Oh, yeah.
bottom tower is under attack.
It's a weird one, that height difference, but they do manage to get the deny at least. Cute Anime Girls finally take care of that objective, but Bokebi, as we mentioned, they just go back to farming. They're perfectly happy with the state of the game. They don't actually need to play fast. That's the crazy part. They've been playing fast, but they don't need to because YGod's still building up.
Miguel gets spotted out. Endless doesn't really have a blink to close the gap yet. You do have the defusal on Musiway, but he's waiting, and now the arena will be dropped. But they got the Soulbind and Silence off with the double Doom now. So that'll hold back the Ricky and the Mars, but they still end up killing off at least one. And now Matino. Well, there's so many Dooms going on here. It was stolen by Kess. That'll be the 3rd Doom of this team fight. That'll be Matino going down. So even with the double Doom, it just didn't mean anything because LY got doomed.
Yeah, it's a tricky spot. They were forced to double Doom without anyone else nearby. Like, they didn't have LY around to help back up, and it just kind of fell flat again. It's just Bokebi is the one really forcing the tone of each engagement. And Cute Anime Girls are forced to dance along. They just can't set the pace themselves. As Bokebi still find everything they'd want. I mean, you're still seeing Miguel keep up in farm. You know, the Doom is still up there with the Medusa, but that is not comparable. The Medusa with this kind of farm has a lot more impact and a lot more longevity compared to a Doom with the same amount of farm. It just does not match 1-to-1. And this is a worrying sign for Cute Anime Girl. They keep committing Doom, but they're not finding the kills they want.
They are not. And once that Eye of Scardy's up on YGod, it just makes it that much harder.
Dire's
Got so much more stats, and of course the slow just going to allow him to kite that lifestealer out so much more. Just don't have an answer yet on Cute Anime Girls. Like, they're trying. You're still waiting on some key items, like you want the blink up on Calvin. Just not quite there yet. Even the Shivers Guard on Miguel would help, but all these team fights they've had just not really assisting them at all. And poor old LY, he's close to finishing off that MKB now, but it's just been a while where he's been close. Just get back to farming up that top lane and try to finish it off. However, mid lane, Miguel is all by himself, and they have the defusal blink in from Musiway with the smoke screen, and Miguel is still running. Hookshot going to be there from Matino. Locking in 2 with the egg to be dropped. Arena out. Calvin in massive, massive trouble on the Slaughter, but still alive, just barely. But he will eventually go down, and now Matino also set to go down. They're just looking for more. Magic just trying to run. The ward will give vision, but they'll just ignore the Grimstroke. No need to chase for any more.
Yeah, and again, Bokebi just coming out on top. They're the ones being aggressive. They're the ones jumping in. And every time, YGod is not afraid to commit. Like, this is a Medusa fighting at the 18-minute mark rather effectively. And we expected Cute Anime Girls to be aggressive.
Well, they might get a nice easy kill on the Phoenix at least. Game is hard, being caught out there, and does eventually go down. I guess that's one nice little easy pickup they can take. It is really just still a matter of this Medusa, though. Like, WiGod is just having such a free game at the moment. It's just not slowing down. That Calvin gonna run into him. Nice hook shot out from Matino. The Conk's pushback. WiGod, he is just by himself. He pops the Manta, but he is not using Stone Gaze. He's just trying to survive without him. Now the Doom comes out. WiGod does go down. And now they want to chase for more. Kess gonna be the next target. Looks like he'll be okay. Just barely, perhaps. Still trying to make a run for it. Does turn around for the Fade Bolt. It does make it to the high ground. Now the Sunray healing him up. LY, he is really wanting to go for that kill. Doesn't really get it, and WiGod will give him the tip.
It's a very deep dive. I mean, they should be happy with that kill on WiGod. It's a big one. You know, that is what they needed. It does keep our Medusa in check. That also manages to give LY his MKB. There's more presence from her lifestealer. Have to be careful though, Miguel.
Arena gonna be very, very nice, and that Doom does not want to die like this. But he will. Great setup there from Bokebi, and I guess they could just keep going. Like, you don't really need to quite yet. You can still just keep farming on this Dusa. And speaking of, Calvin, gonna spot her out. WiGod. Try and stay away from Calvin. Manta will be popped. They're not really going to be able to achieve anything off going after that Medusa. Just a casual stun to be thrown out, and now Mussy Way does actually get LY. The spear will latch onto the tree, and they get a very, very important kill here on the lifestealer. He just got that MKB up. Unfortunately for him, he will die pretty much straight away.
Yeah, it's not quite how you'd want that to go. And Masi is just again on a roll. You know, he's got his Yasha up already. He's hitting like a truck on the Ricky. They've got all the control they want. They retake the lead with a 3k advantage on Bokebi's end. Cute anime girls, they really need that Blink and Calvin. He's going to have it up really soon. They can start playing with the Infest Bomb afterwards, but before then, they just have no clean way of initiating these fights beyond really big hook shots from Matino. They're not in position to defend this tier 1 top.
Just go down easily. They'll try and trade at least. Calvin is going to be there down at the bot lane, so he'll take care of it. Be a direct trade on those tier 1 towers. When you're still just trying to buy more time for WiGod to just finish off that Eye of Skadi. Speaking of, he does have it in a couple hundred gold now. Oh, excuse me, it's still going to be a bit off, but maybe 400 or 500 gold, he'll be there. And all the side of cute anime girls can do is just push in that mid tier 1 tower. Just get any form of a trade they can get. Now a smoke up. They're going to try and go for a big 5-man fight. You do have the Blink Dagger up on Calvin. So this could be big if he can get a nice initiation. He does go onto that Phoenix and they just blow him up. Now onto the Mars Endless. Does get the arena off, but it's nothing if he does go down. WiGod with the Stone Gaze just to disengage. And LY is really picking out that Roshan pit. He does want to go straight after it.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a big objective for them to take. Without the team fighters of Bokebi and without that Stone Gaze, they can't actually fight in the pit. Those are really important pickoffs from cute anime girls. Great blink reveal from Calvin. Does give him a bit of a bounce back in, dropping that network lead down to just 1k. Giving themselves a lot more to play with as they keep smoking up.
That seems to be the idea, right? If they could get kills like this, just keep doing it. Now this time around, WiGod will show off the Eye of Skadi, but he has been stunned up by Calvin and they got the Doom off. And he's losing mana real darn quick. And that'll be WiGod going down. Once again, they want to chase for more. Hook shot, perfect out from Matino. Endless. Just trying to make a run for it, but Calvin is going to be there to cut him off. The stun will not land, but it will not matter. LY is able to finish off the kill himself. Gives the tip back to WiGod. And it looks like it might be about that time to force in this tier 2 mid tower.
Yeah, they've got to play fast here, cute anime girls. There's still a timer on the top of their heads, as If you drag this game too long, the Medusa will have a second spike. So they're going to try to clear as much objectives as they can. Bokebi, for their part, just cannot fight in right now. They need a way to have Endless pop in with the arena. With the build he went for, his blink is going to be a while.
They have control over Miguel. He's trying to make a run for it now. Tricks to the trade will be enough. And I guess it's something you don't want, because with that Doom dying, they just abandoned the mid-tier 2 tower push. So you didn't really get anything out of that if you are cute anime girls or Bokebi. They got a Doom kill.
Yeah, they do come out on top in that sense. And they are hitting some major spikes as well. They've got the level 2 egg up in game is hard. They've got a little bit more durability on the Supernova. They just need to land their spells, and it's Bokebi's turn to smoke up and force a fight out.
That they will. Ping's coming out. They know exactly where cute anime girls are. Masuway going to be the first one in. We'll go straight after Magic. They do try and fight back, but Magic is now down on LY. He's on the run, but he already committed that rage. He'll run out of the arena. Now with the Infest out on Matino, just trying to buy as much time for himself as he can. But Masuway still chasing him down. Does eventually let him go. So they'll get both supports.
Game is hard. He got stuck off and he was being hit by Black Dragon.
I mean, Bokebi, they're still in the lead, right? Like, the net worth lead isn't that high. But every team fight we see, it seems to be just a matter of who's initiating. If cute anime girls can initiate, it seems like they come out on top. If Bokebi initiate, it's exactly the same story.
Yeah, I think the key thing is for cute anime girls, they do have to really break up Bokebi. If Bokebi is still clumped up as 5, but they only manage to clean one up, they can still follow up with all their spells. If they break the fight up into 2 heroes, and the other 3 are somewhere else, that's their opportunity. Like this, Y-God's all alone, trying to rush in to close the gap, but does sense that something's wrong. Still hanging around the triangle, though. Could be good punishment here.
Well, Y gonna spot out Y-God. Bit of a surprise for him. They give him the tips out, and now Hookshot is in. But Y-God, he's fine. Just popping the Stone Gaze will allow him to survive that. Cute anime girls. Well, the line's been drawn out to exactly where Bokebi are. How do you get in there, though? They do jump in with LY and Calvin, but it might not be enough. They kill off Endless, but Calvin, he's going to go down. Now LY being diffused up with the tricks to the trade out from Masuway should be enough, and they do get the Aegis. But now the Soulbind is there. With the double Doom being thrown out from Miguel, they'll turn back around, but Y-God, he's just man-fighting everyone. LY does get a double kill, and now he'll go straight back after that Medusa, but I think Y-God is probably going to be okay. The rest of cute anime girls, they're done. They're not interested in going any further. But they did get the positive trade. So they're probably going to be very happy with that.
Yeah, they finally get a single kill on Masuway. So they do finally get that first kill on the Ricky. And that's a great use of their Aegis. Like, it was about to expire in about 30 seconds anyway. Perfect timing to get that used up. They do win out, and you're still in a precarious spot here for Bokebi. They use up all their spells. They're going to have Stone Gaze up in a few seconds, but you need more build-up on the Medusa. It slowed down after the Scotty. You're going to have the Butterfly relatively soon, but you've got the Disarm up on the Lifestealer. LY's got a way of stopping the damage from flying out. That could cause issues for Bokebi if they're not aware of this build-up on the Lifestealer.
Nice little double damage rune just sitting up at that top rune spot right now for anyone that wants it. I don't believe any side has vision over it, but LY doesn't actually scout it out either. It's like Masuway won't see it. It's probably going to expire soon anyway, unless Miguel runs into it. No, nobody knows it's there. Literally nobody spots it out, and
no.
it'll turn into an Invis rune now. Yeah, he's a bit late. I saw Masuway run towards it. Didn't quite make it in time.
It's a shame. Still this time bought out has given Cute Anime Girls a way to scratch back the lead for themselves. They do at least have LY above Masiway as well. They're looking good in terms of build-up. I mean, you've got the Scotty up and running on Miguel. He's also got his Blink up. They can gap close, get the Doom off. And that double Doom's really been causing issues here for Bokebi. They're just not respecting the fact that there is that utility here from Cute Anime Girls. They have to watch their spacing, ensure that their cores aren't the ones caught out by that, or at least try to mitigate the effect of that double Doom and maybe try to take care of magic before these fights break out. That Soulbind is just doing a bit too much here for Cute Anime Girls.
It seems to be what they've been trying to do anyway, right? Like, magic has been the target every single time, if they can spot around and make the jump.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Bokebi just kind of hanging out together, still just trying to get some more farm up. But it looks like it's about that time to go for another smoke, and they do. My God, perhaps baiting. Shot himself in the mid lane, but this is probably pretty obvious for Cute Anime Girls. So we're just going to loop around now. Does run through the sentry. Infest is going to be out from Calvin. They want to go now. Who are they jumping on though? Calvin just runs straight into them. There's the Infest being committed, but Calvin's getting very, very low. Miguel, he does get the Doom off, but the Stone Gaze was already committed prior to that Doom coming in, and Matino will go down, but so does Endless and Magic, and Kess for that matter. But LY, very, very low now on that lifesteal. It does also drop. That was it. Buybacks are out. Miguel and Calvin, they're on the run. Tino, he committed buyback, but it won't really lead to much. An unsuccessful team fight out now for Cute Anime Girls.
Yeah, and that's because they couldn't get the double Doom off. They were forced to Doom one.
Oh,
it wasn't
quick
really
Roshan.
enough to clean that up. Oh, yeah,
5-second Roshan timer.
Whew. And I think the Flare actually caught the tail end of it. So they know to roach us up from Cute Anime Girls, and Bokebi does not. That's going to be a bit of a window for Cute Anime Girls if they wished. But they're not in position to, not until LY is back up. So that should give Bokebi some time to scout it out themselves if they're clever. I don't think they expect it to be up that fast, though.
That's pretty darn quick. Masiway was trying to have a look on the Ricky, but he was just a bit too early to that Roshan pit. So they're going to be well aware that Cute Anime Girls are probably all missing off the map, and they'll figure it out eventually. Calvin is going to rush in, spot it out. Gets the D wards out as well on the Slaughter. Seems like they are ready now. Lift is going to be there. Calvin caught by the Arena of Blood, and he's just going to get bursted down, or perhaps not. The Infest does save him. Endless, he will be the one to go down to the Mars. And now the Soulbind is out. Catching the Rubik and the Deucer, but a great Stone Gaze, and Masiway goes straight in on them, onto the Lifestealer. LY falling very, very low. The egg is there, and LY does go down, and so does Calvin. They just melt. Kess dropping on the Rubik, but it won't matter. And now it's just a free Roshan if they so wish, and they will.
Oh, yeah. It's gonna be tricky now for Cute Anime Girls to jump back in. They will have the Doom in about 10 seconds, so they've got that tool available for them. There is no egg, there's no arena, there's no Stone Gaze on the side of Bokebi. They are a bit vulnerable, have to be cautious about that hook shot play.
Tino, he's waiting. First dive will give vision, game is hard, he's just blocking the way. That Roshan is very, very low, but he can't get a hookshot off. It was lined up very nicely, but game is hard. Was blocking the way, and now Matino just going to die. And that'll be a dieback on that clock.
Oh,
I guess in that position, you don't really have an option. You either throw the hook or you don't.
Oh, yeah.
He tried.
It just doesn't amount to where you want, and why God, with all the luck in the world, finds a double damage right after the Roche. Really just a great time in the Deucer. Easy siege on that tier 2. And start pinging into the high ground, and they're gonna have some, they at least have the Stone Gaze up.
LY just gonna rush in with Rage. Endless still gonna be fine, and now the arena has been committed, but LY does barely get away with his life intact, or maybe he doesn't.
Oh, no.
He got lifted up and does go down. There is no buyback on that Lifestealer, And the tips just continue flying in.
Radiant's middle tower
And with that death, there's just no reason for this dire side to back off.
No, I mean they've got the Aegis. They've still caught the double damage. It does expire, but they're gonna have Egg up. They do have it. They're gonna have Arena up in a bit. They've still got the cheese and Massive Way to refresh him, and there's just nothing to stop them. They can't go for the bot set of racks, so they should work their way up top if they want more.
Radiant's middle
They will.
has fallen.
34 seconds to go before that Pulse 1 lifesteal is back up. Just very hard to see a defense coming out in time before the second Rax is gone. You have the Soulbind Doom available, but without the follow-up damage from that lifestealer, just not going to be enough. But now Backdoor Protection kicks in, and actually they do hookshot in Matino with the Ink Swell, but now Masiway does get in there with the tricks of the trade. Smoke to be popped out from Miguel. They're trying to fight this one out, but it's going to be no good. LY, he just respawned up. They just started a bit too early. LY still trying to go in, but now the arena's going to be there, and he's just getting kited around. Miguel is set to fall, and does. Magic, the next one to go down on the Grimstroke, and she does go down. LY with the Infest is just not enough, and he's going to die in his fountain. Oh, it's just so rough. Why, God? He'll bathe in the fountain as the game does get called, and that'll be a 2-0 for Cute Anime Girls. Oh, excuse me, for Bokebi. Bokebi.
Oh, that was a spectacular showing from Bokebi. Just really playing around. The core of Benny Bryan again showing up here and surprising us. And Cute Anime Girls, they placed a good fight. They fixed some of their drafting issues here in game 2. Wasn't enough to overcome. Looks like there are some things they need to work out as the league goes on. Fortunately for them, there are a lot more games lined up. But that is it for tonight, and big congrats to Bokebi for cleaning it up 2-0.
That they did. Very, very convincing 2 games as well from them. Still, that is it for tonight. Of course, we are back tomorrow for some more great Australian Dota. However, for now, it is MLP Dota and it is John X Fire. We'll see you guys next week for more. And like I said, tune back in tomorrow, same time, 6 PM AEST, for some more Oceanic Dota 2 League. We'll see you then.